Hola, Chisme. Hey,
Hola,
everyone.
Mar.
Hey, Lynn.
Hi,
Hey,
everyone.
Marshmallow. Yeah, Lynn accidentally got blocked. Kaz was like, Lynn's blocked. I'm like, I don't know how she got blocked. And then I found her in the blocked list. I bet Chisme
Oh,
did it.
goodness. Uh-uh.
Hey, Iconic. Hey, Elisa Casada.
Hi.
Hello,
Hello.
Al. Welcome. Hey, Jess. All right, go ahead, Chisme.
I was just going to say hello, beautiful people.
All right. Um, you know what? I'm just gonna start with my last video so that anyone who's not caught up can get caught up on Bryan Kohberger's travels yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah, he's scared. Like he has that look in his eyes,
Mm,
and I
evil.
still, right? Oh God, and I still think of Danny Rollin. They almost look like brothers. I'm gonna show pictures later. I think they're related,
Okay.
like down the bloodline somehow. Or that Ed Kemper
You
kind
think
of
he looks
reminds
like him?
me, huh?
You think he looks like Ed Kemper?
He reminds me of Ed Kemper. Hey, Marietta. Let's see if Kaz comes around.
Mm-hmm.
She's still got the COVID
Yeah.
and iconic. I want the baby. Okay, let me find this and then we'll listen to the affidavit. We'll have one of the assistants read it because it's 18 pages long and I'll probably be
Yeah.
undone by that. The affidavit was pretty shocking, though,
Yeah.
honestly.
I haven't really listened to it since it's so long to the whole thing, just bits here and there. But I'm looking forward to your assistant reading it.
Hey, Michelle. Hey, Too Tall Rob. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
Hopefully, healthy, happy, prosperous, and less people going missing, and especially less children
For sure.
without being turned in for weeks, months, and years later. How come nobody's talking about Madalena?
I don't know. We're everyone's focused on the Idaho 4.
Yeah, right, iconic? Yeah, he wasn't the brightest one. All right. These headphones are so tight on my ears that I almost feel like something's not right.
Your head's being squeezed.
Yeah,
Get
guys,
those
we got it.
ideas.
Yeah, Chisme hired a couple of assistants because it takes so long to upload my voice for some reason. I think Filmora can't stand it. And these are so easy to upload that I can actually get a video done in a day and not 2 days. Hey, Lilac, Happy New Year, hon.
So, and they read it?
All right. Well, I'm going to play this video, so it's just a catch up on his whole entire day yesterday in like 6 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
I know, Marietta. I had to take today off. I just had to unplug from the serial killer. I believe he would have killed again. There's no question. All right, here we go. This video is actually kind of funny. I have a conversation with myself. Hey, Mark. Right? Hey, Tony. I'll be right back, Chizzy. I'm going to go grab a drink. Everyone, welcome in. I am going to go ahead and kick off this video, and then I'm going to turn it over to the virtual assistants. Some of you say that you miss hearing my voice, but unfortunately, to upload a video with this raspy voice requires a lot of internet. So until I have unlimited, I have hired Stephanie and Matthew to help us with our channel. So Bryan Kohberger has been busy in court, and his parents were there. Let's go ahead and check out some of this video footage of the monster showing up in court to go ahead with the extradition back to Moscow, Idaho. And also, before we get into this video, my thoughts and prayers go out to Maddie, Kaylee, Ethan, and Xana's friends and a family. All right, Stephanie, you ready?
Yes, I am MonkieMar. And with that, let's get into it. Let's discuss the latest updates on the Bryan Kohberger, the alleged killer of the University of Idaho students. This morning, Bryan Kohberger is in a jail cell at the Monroe County Correctional Facility. This afternoon, he's expected in a courtroom about 7 miles from here, where he'll likely waive his extradition hearing and begin the process of going back to Idaho to face murder charges. Here is our first look at Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger as he arrives at the Monroe County Courthouse for this extradition hearing. My eyes are cold as ice. I truly believe he would have turned into a serial killer if he was not caught, and like MonkieMar, I would not be shocked if Bryan was responsible for skinning that dog. I know he is an extremist vegan, but still believe he is responsible. Brian Enton reported today from Idaho going inside courtroom now for Bryan Kohberger hearing. Cameras and live tweeting not allowed. Bryan Kohberger waived his extradition hearing. He had to sign a waiver in court. The judge explained to Kohberger the charges against him in Idaho and that he was voluntarily allowing authorities to transfer him to Idaho. Kohberger told the judge he is not on any medication that would impact him making the decision. The judge said he has to be sent to Idaho within 10 days. Kohberger came into court and made eye contact with his family sitting in the front row. He nodded at them. His mom cried and his sister comforted the mom. A deputy brought her tissues. Moscow police will not give specifics about Bryan Kohberger's transportation to Idaho because of security concerns. Once there, he will be served with the arrest warrant for the murders. Then the probable cause affidavit will be unsealed. Kohberger will have an initial court appearance where a magistrate judge will explain to him his rights and the charges against him. Kohberger will not be asked his plea during this hearing. This is when a preliminary hearing is scheduled. Based on the court orders, it does appear cameras will be allowed in the Idaho courtroom. Once back in Idaho, we are told Kohberger will be held in the Latah County Jail. Body camera video shows Indiana State Police pulling over Bryan Kohberger and his father in the white Hyundai as they drove from Washington to Pennsylvania on December 15, 2022.
Hello. How you doing? How y'all doing today? Good, good. Take a look at your driver's license real quick if I could. See, he's right up on that van, man. He was right up on the back end of that van. Pulled you over for tailgating. Is this your car? Okay, cool. Where are you headed?
Well, we're coming from WSU, and we're
What's WSU?
University, basically. That is watching the area.
So we're okay. I'm having a hard time hearing you because of the traffic. So you're coming from Washington State University, and you're going where? Oh,
We're going to be going to Pennsylvania.
oh, okay.
Yeah. So we're slightly punchy because we're driving for hours.
Hours, days.
Hours to drive.
Yeah.
almost a day.
Okay. And what did you say about some SWAT team thing? Or
Yeah,
something?
there was a mass shooting and everything. We don't know
Where?
this was essentially prevents
Interesting.
well, it's horrifying because it's always the universe, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So y'all work at the university there?
I actually do work there.
Oh,
He was PhD in criminal
okay. Okay. Yeah, I hadn't heard about that incident. Just yesterday, or?
This happened this morning. About an hour and a half ago. We're still wrapping it up for investigating. I'm not sure there's two shooters because they did shoot somebody.
Let's see.
And then you didn't know about that actually. They were there out of the window or something.
Interesting.
Bryan Kohberger has landed in Idaho. Media await for his arrival outside of the Latah County Courthouse, where he will face charges for the murder of the 4 University of Idaho students. Bryan Kohberger is keen to know what's in sealed affidavits. Prosecutor man accused of the November slayings of 4 University of Idaho students is hurrying his return to Idaho to find out the details of the charges against him in sealed affidavits, according to a prosecutor. The probable cause affidavit outlining the evidence for first-degree murder and felony burglary charges against Kohberger won't be released until after he arrives in Idaho. Authorities: there is a lot going on with the Idaho monster Bryan Kohberger. Affidavit will be unsealed after he is charged officially with the deaths of Maddie, Kaylee, Zana, and Ethan. Also heard a rumor regarding why Bryan was an extreme vegan. A rumor has it he feared cannibalism if he tasted meat. I am convinced he was a serial killer in the mind, and thank God he was arrested. I believe he would have killed again, but he is not as smart as people think, in my opinion. He was messy and left behind a lot of DNA at the scene of the crime, not to mention driving his car to the block of 1122 King. Let's be thankful this monster is off the streets. Such a senseless crime, like most are. 4 young lives gone for what? Should he get the death sentence if proven guilty by the state of Idaho? I do. Moscow murder suspect Bryan C. Kohberger has been booked into the Latah County Jail as of Wednesday evening. He is charged with 4 counts of murder and 1 count of burglary, jail records show. In a train of police cars, one Kohberger swiftly drove into a Latah County garage guarded by law enforcement vehicles. The garage was immediately closed with no visibility on Kohberger.
It was like when they brought Chris Watson. All right. But the way he walked into that courtroom, like his head all held up high, like, yeah, he's like proud of this. He's like, yep, I'm the guy.
Yeah, he's enjoying every minute of it.
Just an absolute creeper. And that view of the back window where I could, I could just see him hanging out back there in those bushes.
Yep.
Just weird.
From any angle.
But like you get pulled over, that's the second stop pull over. So you get pulled over the second time. His eyes were so big that they didn't even look blue. They looked like they were black.
I thought his eyes were black, but then now I got a good look at him.
Don't make me laugh. People always yell at me when I laugh. I love the comments. How could you laugh at a time like this? I had a comment the other day that was mad at me for talking about Bryan Kohberger's family having the bankruptcy and losing the house and stuff. I'm like, what? Please go away. Just go away.
Everyone's saying that.
But the point of that whole entire thing was is people kept saying his parents were wealthy and one was a lawyer and this and that. And I'm like, no, she's a substitute school teacher and the father's a maintenance man. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think the father's a little strange. But do you guys think the father knew that something was like just weird with him? Like, why do
Yeah.
you mention the Idaho murders getting pulled over in Indiana?
Did he mention the murders? I thought he mentioned the shooting.
Yeah, but didn't he mention it too at the end? They said back in Idaho or something. And then he
Uh,
said that he had not heard of that.
yeah, I thought he was talking about the shooting
Yeah, at
in
the end, the
Washington.
father or Brian mentions Idaho. Maybe
I
they
I
were.
have to listen again.
Yeah, that one iconic. Yeah. I get a message when I said God is good about this monster being caught, and someone's like, "Are you kidding me? God is good?" Question mark, question mark. I said that he was caught. Absolutely. All right, let's see if we can get one of the assistants to read this. I know we've heard it 100 times, but we haven't heard it together. All right. Um, Let me see if she's gonna work. Oh yeah. Okay.
I bet he's going to try to represent himself in court. Oh no, he got a court appointed one.
Yeah, we're gonna get into all of that with his court today after this. But it was really strange about Dylan.
Yeah.
Well, I might have to read it. I think I think the assistants are sleeping,
They're fired.
right?
They just started and they're fired.
Huh. Let me see one more thing. All right. Right, they're both fired. Chisme's gonna start recording the videos.
Mm-mm. Just kidding.
Wait a second. I have an idea. All right, guys, give me 1 second. Chisme, talk to our lovely guest for a minute, please.
Okie doke. I was just gonna mention. I'm not sure if it's true, but I did hear on YouTube that the FBI had sent the cops to stop him, but I don't know if that's true.
What on the pullovers at the stops thing?
Yes.
No, I doubt it. All right, hang on, guys. So page 2 is completely gone, which is actually interesting.
Of the affidavit.
Yep, yep. All right, I'm just gonna read it. Well, I'll let her. Hang on 1 second. It's so long, but it was weird. Like, how do you see somebody with in your house with a mask on, and then you don't hear from your roommates for all that time, or is it just me?
She might have she might have hidden, and she was scared that he was gonna come kill her, and she was just there, shaking, shivering, having a panic attack, and she couldn't move because what if he was still in the house waiting for her to come out?
All right, all right. Tell me if you guys can hear this. This is like the first 5 pages, and then I'll read the rest. Okay, 1 second. Let me share. Gonna have to share my whole screen, I think. Okay. Just tell me if you can hear this, okay?
All right.
I'm not gonna stop it. Just say yes or no.
Is
Okie
provided by
dokie.
Brett. He below information is
Yeah, I
provided.
hear it.
Okay.
He below information is provided by Brett. He by Brett Payne, who is a duly appointed, qualified and acting peace officer within the county of
Thank you,
Latah, state
Matthew.
of Idaho. Brett Payne is employed by Moscow Police Department in the official capacity or position of Corporal, CPL, and has been a trained and qualified peace officer for approximately 4 years. CPL Payne is being assisted by members of the Idaho State Police and agents of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. On November 13, 2022, at approximately 4 p.m., Moscow Police Department, MPD, Sergeant Blaker and I responded to LL22 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, hereafter the King Road residence, to assist with scene security and processing of a crime scene associated with 4 homicides. Upon our arrival, the Idaho State Police, LSP, forensic team was on scene and was preparing to begin processing the scene. MPD officer, OFC, Smith, one of the initial responding officers to the incident, advised he would walk me through the scene. OFC Smith and I entered the King Road residence door
Hey,
to the second.
Richard.
OFC Smith directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned, through Shauna's driver's license and other personal belongings found in the room, was Shauna Kernodle's, hereafter Kernodle room. Just before this room there was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Chemicals, laying on the floor. Kernodle was deceased with wounds which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Also in the room was a male, later identified as Ethan Chapin, hereafter, Chapin. Chapin was also deceased with wounds later determined. Autopsy report provided by Spokane County Medical Examiner dated December 15, 2022, to be caused by sharp force injuries. I then followed OFC Smith upstairs to the third floor off residence. The third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side off floor was later determined to be Kaylee Gonsalves, hereafter Gonsalves, room. I later learned, from review of Officer Nunes Body Correra, there was a dog in the room when Moscow police officers
Thanks,
initially
sweet
responded.
Caroline.
The dog belonged to Gonsalves and her
Absolutely.
ex-boyfriend Jack Ducour. I found out from my interview with Jack Ducour on November 13, 2022. Arhna Gonsalves shade the dog. OFC Smith then pointed out a small bathroom on the east side off third floor. This bathroom shared a wall with Vladis and Mugens. Hereafter Mogan bedroom was situated on the southeast corner off third floor. As I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. Both Gonsalves and Mogan were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mugan's right side, when viewed from the door. The sheath was later processed and had K-bar USMC and the unique state.s. Marine.
That part. I mean, they came straight out. It's a K-bar. And he left. I mean, yeah, that's one mistake. So he left the sheath on the bed next to Maddie. Hey, London. I mean, that's sickening, Chisme. Sickening he even went and did what he did.
Yeah. He either wanted to get caught or he just forgot it. Careless.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted to get caught. I think he just obviously made some mistakes. I couldn't understand if that was like someone's first time doing this, how they could possibly have got in and got out like a ninja. We were all like, there has to be something. And my gosh, a
Yeah.
whole bunch of something. Why? Just what a senseless crime. Okay. Come on, Matthew. Don't give up on us.
Marine Corps Eagle Globe and anchor insignia stamped on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source off-male DNA, suspect profile, left on the button snap-off knife sheath.
Dumbass.
As, after investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department officers, Idaho State POTUS detectives, and FBI agents. 2 of the interviews.
What happened?
Now, we all know that these are not my typos. Did you? But I am going to laugh at the typos because you can't make it up, right? What they typed the police, the POTUS, and I thought Matthew said a bad word. So, oh shit, sorry guys, I'm not laughing at the affidavit. It's a horrible situation, and people
Yeah.
know me that it pisses me off and it makes me sick. And I hope that he gets a death sentence. But I thought that he just said the p word.
Mm, I'm not sure. I was trying to read the comments, but let's hear it again. I want to hear it.
You know what? You really need therapy. Hang on one second. All right, where's that
My
word at? Oh,
insurance
here
ran
we go.
out.
Okay, here we go. Listen, guys, I was like, what did he just say?
As, after investigation, numerous interviews were conducted by Moscow Police Department
Not
officers,
yet,
Idaho
right?
State POTUS detectives, and FBI agents.
You heard it?
Two of the interviews included BF
Mm-hmm.
and DM. Both BF and DM inside the King Road residence at the time of the homicides and were roommate Euro-OS to victims. BF's bedroom was located on the east side off first floor of King residence.
Hello, Wilhelm.
Based on his interviews inducted by MPD as well as my review of evidence, I have leaned the following. On the evening of November 12, 2022, Chapin and Kemetal are seen by BF at the Sigma Chi house on the University of Idaho CM Arpus at 735 Nez Perce Drive from approximately 9 p.m. on November 12 to L:45 a.m. on November 13. BF also estimates that at approximately 1:45 a.m., Chapin MD Kernodle returned to the King Road residence. BF also stated Trat Chapin did not live in the
My
King Road residence in Lar, the corner club at 202N Main Seat, in Moscow. Gonsalves and Mogan Carby seen on video.
like we're only on page 5 and he's already tired. Wake up. Really?
Yeah, wake up, Maddie.
B.F. also
Sorry, here he goes.
stated Trat Chapin did not live in the King Road residence but
He's
was the
tired.
guest of Kemetal, Goncalves and Mogan Lar, corner club at 202N.
Well, obviously he doesn't want to talk anymore.
Main $ET, in Moscow. Goncalves and Mogan Carby seen on video footage forwarded by the Comer Club.
We go and we
Between
stay.
10 p.m. on November 12 and 1:30 a.m. on November 13. At approximately 1:30 m. Goncalves and Mogan can be seen on video at a local food vendor called the 13 Rub Truck at 318's Main Sheet in downtown Moscow.
A lot of typos.
The Grub Truck live SNEAMS video from their food on the shaming platform Twitch which is available for public viewing on their website. This video was captured by law enforcement right. A private party reported that he provided a ride to Goncalves and Mogan at approximately 1:56 a.m. from downtown Moscow in front of Grub Truck to the King Road residence. DM and BF both made statements during interviews Truv indicated
That was the one talking, reading. The text was Mars' new computer friend, because it takes her a long time to upload stuff. Yeah, maybe maybe she hid, and you know, she couldn't find her phone, and she didn't want to leave wherever she was, like in the closet or wherever she hid. Yeah, I have panic attacks. I hadn't had one lately, but yeah, it was bad. They called the ambulance one time because I couldn't. It was a 2-hour panic attack. Yeah, Knight Rider. You know we're old if we know what Tony Martinez is talking about. This guy sounds like Kit the Talking Car on Knight Rider. Yeah, yeah. Lilac Breeze. Her phone was in the other room charging. I don't know, but what if it was, or she just, when she got up, it fell. You know how sometimes you throw the blankets off and the phone goes flying out? Yes, she's lucky to have survived. That's right, Iconic. She was on the second floor bedroom. Yeah, there's more. There's more to it. Also, I don't know if there aren't that many pictures of it, but across the street there's some stairs, and they had caution tape around it. So I wonder if he ran down those stairs, but why if his car was on the corner? Um, yes, Jack and Jack. I apologize to them, also to Inan. And like I said, if they ever need anything, they can come to me. I think we all learned from this situation on future cases. We're learning, and since we listen to all of the experts, they're teaching us. Well, maybe she's the one that called Jack from the other phones.
Sorry about that. My ferret took the. I'm not even going to explain it, but if you're over the age of 26 like me, don't get a ferret. All right. Yeah, she just took the new box. I had to go underneath the couch and into the cushion to find her with it.
Oh,
I'm too old for that. I pulled my muscles yesterday trying to get her outside. Okay. All right. I'm just going to read it. Well, I don't know if I can handle 19 pages, but I'll try. Let me just let him finish. I couldn't understand why it was going out. I was like, what's going on? And then I realized, oh, there goes the box.
I can read some if you want me to.
Yeah, you read good. All right, hang on. Let me just get Matthew back in here. Lilac, that's the new bots. All right, open. Obviously, he doesn't like us because he was really slowing down. He can't handle it.
2:00 a.m.
All right. Let me go back where we were. And it was weird too about the DoorDash. All right, let me share my screen. Okay, so we left off before he quit at the grub truck, and there's so many typos in this. Probably better that. All right, right here.
This video was captured by law enforcement right. private party reported that he provided a ride to Goncalves and Mogan at approximately 1:56 a.m. from downtown Moscow in Fiat off-Grub truck to the King Road residence. DM and BF both made statements during interviews. Truth indicated the occupants of the King Road residence work at home by 2 o'clock a.m. and asleep or at least in their rooms by approximately 4 a.m. This is with the exception of Ken Riddle, who received a DoorDash order at the residence at approximately 4 o'clock a.m. Law enforcement identified the DoorDash delivery driver who reported this information. DM stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom OU the southeast side oft. Sun floor. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 o'clock a.m.
So that puts Dylan on the second floor. Hello, Jennifer. Hello, Millennial. That's new information. Who's going to the beach? Oh, have fun, Tony. You must be like in Australia. Chisme, what do you think about Dylan being on the second floor, too?
Yeah. Well, I know that she had moved. I guess they were right about the bottom on the first floor bedroom being kind of like a storage room.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure, and she, according to the affidavit, she saw the guy
Yeah, we're
wearing all
gonna hear
black.
that, but yeah, so you're with a ski mask on, and you're on the second floor, and you don't hear four people being stabbed to death. It's mind blowing, but you see him, and it's how many hours later?
Could
Eight
have
hours
passed out.
later, you make the 911 call. Very bizarre.
By what she stated, sounded like Goncalves playing Will her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor.
You know what? I'm gonna read this part because he's got so many damn typos. A short time later, said she heard who she thought was Kaylee say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Xana's phone showed this could also have been Xana, as her cellular phone indicated. She was likely awake and using the TikTok app at approximately 4:12 a.m. Dylan stated she looked out the bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house. Dylan stated she opened her door a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Xana's room. Dylan then said she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, it's okay, I'm going to help you." At approximately 4:17 a.m., a security camera located at 1112 King Road, a residence, I don't even know what that word is supposed to be, to the northwest of 1122 King Road, picked up distorted audio of what sounded like voices or a whimper, followed by a loud thud. A dog can also be heard barking numerous times, starting at 4:17. The security camera is less than 50 feet from the west wall of Xana's bedroom. Dylan stated she opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying and a MW, a figure clad in black clothing. Okay. What do you think that is, Chisme? She heard the crying. She saw a figure, I don't know, in black clothing and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose, walking towards her. Dylan described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past Dylan as she stood in a frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back a sliding glass door, and Dylan locked herself in her room. What am I missing with that whole entire situation? I don't know. I mean, we're going to have to go back and look at the floor plan and see if she's looking out the door. He could have been. But if you see but forget about him not seeing her. If you think that you saw what you think you saw and you saw him, why are we not calling the police? You know?
She could have passed out or fainted, or her own body was trying to protect itself by blanking out.
What? Yeah, the 911 call, guys, is going to say it all. All right, let me figure out what page we're on. I don't know. It's just weird. You see somebody in your house. I mean, did you think maybe it was somebody from a party? I don't know. All
Could
right,
be
let me
because
see
there's
where we left
videos
off.
of is it Bethany and her boyfriend with ski mask on, that same the day before.
But this part is weird too. Let me open it. Okay. So Dylan stated she originally went to sleep in her bedroom on the southeast side of the second floor. That's the bedroom underneath um Maddie's room, right?
Yes.
Okay. But she originally, okay. By what she stated, sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the third floor. Short time later, Dylan said she heard a. Okay, that's the thing she's talking about. She locked herself in her room after seeing the male. Did not state that she recognized the male. This leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. The combination of Dylan's statements to law enforcement, reviews of forensic downloads of records from Bethany and Dylan's phone, and video of a suspect video as described below leads investigators to believe the homicides occurred between 4 and 4:25 a.m. Then they found a shoe print. A latent shoe print was located during the second processing of the crime scene by ISP, presumptive blood test, and then amino black, a protein stain that detects the presence of cellular material. Detected a shoe print showed a diamond-shaped pattern similar to the pattern of a Van shoe, the sole, just outside of Dylan's bedroom, located on second floor, consistent with Dylan's statement regarding the suspect's path of travel. That's pretty creepy. All right, I'm gonna have no voice after this. All right, I'm gonna stop when we get to the pictures, though. Let me get Matthew, guys. Chisme, are you there?
I'm here
What are you doing over there?
listening.
You falling asleep?
No, I'm listening because I hadn't heard the whole thing. I've just heard bits and pieces.
Yeah, let's get Matthew back in here. I'm gonna be brain dead. See if he can handle a couple more pages. All right, come on, Matthew, you can do it. But the typos are
As
just.
part of investigation,
Shh.
an extensive, as part of investigation, an extensive search, commonly referred to in law
Oh, come on.
enforcement as a tidio canvass, was conducted in the area of the King Road residals. This video canvass was to obtain any footage from the early morning hours of November 13,2A2, n. the area of the King Road residence and surrounding neighborhoods in an effort to locate the suspect S, or suspect vict S, hobbling to or leaving from the King Road residence. This video canvas resulted in the collection of numerous surveillance videos.
Like, I seriously don't know who typed out this affidavit, but I think the person needs to honestly get, like, what I use, the Grammarly spell check thing, because these typos are crazy. Crazy. And there's a lot of them.
In the area from both residential and business addresses. I have reviewed numerous videos that were collected and have had conversation with the other MPD officers, ISP detectives, and FBI agents that are simul 6 Lisi by 6 Vilg footage that was obtained. A review of camera footage indicated that a white sedan, hereafter suspect vehicle 1, was observed traveling westbound in the 700 block of Indian Hills Drive in Moscow at 5. approximately 3:26 a.m. and westbound on Steiner Avenue at Idaho State Highway 95 in Moscow at approximately 3:28 a.m. On this video, it appeared suspect vehicle 1 was not displaying a front license plate. A review of footage from multiple videos obtained from the King Road neighborhood strode multiple sightings of suspect vehicle I starting at 3:29 a.m. and ending at 4:20 a.m. These sightings show suspect vehicle I makes an initial 3 passes by the 1122 King Road residence and then leave via Latah Drive. Based off my experience as a patrol officer, this is a residential neighborhood with a very limited number of vehicles that travel in the area during the early morning hours. Upon review of the video, there are only a few cars that enter and exit.
All right, all right. We know the affidavit, right, guys? Hey, Raul. Hey, Dia. Or you want me to finish this part, Chisme?
Oh, it's up to you.
All right, I'll finish him. I'll finish him talking, and then if you want to read a couple pages, this thing is long, and I know a
Okay,
lot of
just
people
let
heard
me
it,
know.
but okay, here we go. Come on, Matthew. Stay strong, man. Stay strong.
This area during this time frame. Suspect vehicle 1 can be seen entering the area a fourth time at approximately 4:04 a.m.
Weirdo.
It can be seen driving eastbound on King Road, stopping and tumbling around in front of 500 Queen Road number 52 and then driving back westbound on King Road.
Mm.
When suspect vehicle I is in front of the King Road residence, it appeared to unsuccessfully attempt to park or tum around in the road. The vehicle then continued to the intersection of Queen Road and King Road where it can be seen completing a 3-point tum and then driving eastbound again down Queen Road. Suspect vehicle I is next seen departing the area off King Road residence at approximately 4:20 a.m. at a high rate of speed. Suspect vehicle I is next observed traveling southbound on Latah Drive.
I mean, another thing. Not only do you, I mean, horribly, unfortunately, take out 4 college kids, then you just speed right out of the neighborhood in your little Hyundai. Oh, I don't know, Raul. We might find out tonight. There's a couple of things I want to play that I haven't really watched the whole thing. Hey, Kazaboo. You got the key, babe. All right. Come on,
Hi,
Matthew.
Kaz.
Chisme, I don't know if you want to open up the affidavit and see where we're
Excuse
gonna
me.
be at when he's done, but yeah, he's starting to slow down again. Listen, I
Yeah,
paid for you,
I'm
Matthew.
listening.
Huh.
I'm following on my phone, the one I have on my phone.
I paid for you. Wake up, buddy.
Drive. Based on my knowledge of area and review of camera footage. In the neighborhood Tlat does not show suspect vehicle 1 during that
Ooh,
time
the
frame.
typos.
I believe that suspect vehicle I likely exited the neighborhood at Palouse River Drive and Conestoga Drive. Palouse Enver Drive is at the southern edge of Moscow and proceeds into Wittern County, Washington. Eventually the road leads to Puliernik, Washington. Pullman, Washington is 6. Approximately L0 miles from Moscow, Idaho. Both Pullman and Moscow are small college towns and people commonly travel back and forth between them. Law enforcement officers provided video footage of suspect vehicle I to forensic examiners with the Federal Bureau of Law Investigation that regularly utilize surveillance footage to identify the year, make, and model of an unknown vehicle that is observed by one or more cameras during the
Okay. I don't know if it's because I'm going through menopause, I think, but are the typos not like really horrendous in this affidavit? Hey, Mai. I don't think so, Mai. I thought maybe he was a nice, not so nice Jewish boy, but I think the community that he went to college in is like a real, didn't they say it's a Christian community?
Yeah, they want to make it a Christian town.
Hey, London. I don't know. I'm sorry, but the last name Krowberger, to me, the first thing I said to Kaz and Chisme was he sounds like he should have been a nice Jewish boy. But then it came out that his college was something Christian, something. Is he a Jewish boy, Kaz, or is he Christian?
No, it's a Jew.
I think he's Jewish. He's got to be Krowberger.
I got it. He's a Kohlberger. Don't make me laugh. I will start coughing.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, me too, because I'm at the end of my cold. But these typos, I honestly thought they had the P word in this affidavit, Kaz. I was like, what did he just say? All right, here we
Uh,
go. Here we go.
commission of a criminal offense. The forensic examiner has approximately 35 years law enforcement experience with 12 years at the FBL. His specific training includes identifying unique characteristics of vehicles, and he uses a database that gives visual clues of vehicles across states to identify differences between vehicles. After reviewing the numerous observations of suspect vehicle 1, the forensic examiner initially believed that suspect vehicle 1 was a 20LL 2013 Hyundai Elantra. Upon further review, he indicated it could also be a 2011-2016 Hyundai Elantra. As a result, investigators have been reviewing information on persons in possession of a vehicle that is a 201 January 2016 white Hyundai Elantra. Investigators were given access to video footage on the Washington State University WSU campus located in Pullman, Washington. A review of that video indicated that at approximately 2:44 a.m. on November 13, 2022, a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as suspect vehicle 1, was observed on WSU surveillance cameras, traveling north on Southeast Nevada Street at Northeast Stadium Way. At approximately 2:53 a.m., a white sedan, which is consistent with the description of the white Elantra known as suspect vehicle 1,
Creeper.
was observed traveling southeast on Nevada Street in Pullman, Washington towards SR 270. SR 270 connects Pullman, Washington to Moscow, Idaho. This
Right? Just like, and it's like he didn't even have a reason. I mean, like you just go in, kill 4 people in 20 minutes, and leave. Like, what was the motive? Because you couldn't have Kaylee or Maddie. Well,
I
okay, we're
think
gonna.
so.
If we start talking now, you guys can talk. I'm gonna go ahead and load up a couple more pages of this.
yeah, when you sent me Well, you know I had it, but when you sent me the PDF, I've gone through and highlighted so much stuff on this. It's unbelievable.
I mean, I just don't get like what. I don't know. I'm gonna put the whole thing into the next one, the whole finish of it. And I can't get over the. I'm not trying to say it, but the typos are just
I know they're horrendous.
horrendous. Is not the word. I thought my typos were bad.
Don't have me laughing, woman.
Mine have been good lately though because I'm using Grammarly again. Don't tell people my secrets.
You dump yourself in, you goose.
I wonder if he was watching the live feed of the grub truck.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Well, the
I
whole
mean,
entire page 2 is missing.
Pullman
The whole
What
page 2
page?
is missing. 2.
Page 2?
yeah, because
Completely out of the
page
report.
two, yeah, it's redacted because that actually gives all the details of the autopsy report. That's why it's redacted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was Ted Bundy Jewish? It does. He still reminds me of Danny Rowland. We're gonna check that out later. More and more. I wonder if they're related.
I did
Okay,
a
this is
side
the
by
end of it. I got the whole thing in here, guys. So let's just try to get past these unbelievable, horrible typos. Next time I decide to do this, I didn't realize there were so many typos. I'm gonna put it in Grammarly first and fix them. The one from which incel guy, millennial? There's so many. The one in Southern California.
Ted
I've seen
Bundy.
so many. Ted Bundy wasn't an incel.
Ted Bundy's family is of German and Jewish heritage.
Yeah, I thought they were.
Interesting.
Yeah. And Jess, stop cracking those jokes in chat. I'm holding back a cough, something chronic.
Chronic.
Okay, guys, let's do this because I do have 2 videos
Here I
that I
go.
want to watch with you guys that I haven't even seen yet, but I know they're going to be good. Okay, Matthew, should I get Stephanie?
Yeah, put Stephanie on
Yeah,
for a
let's get
while.
Stephanie. Hey, Stephanie, can you come here for a minute?
Pullman, Washington was
Nope.
provided to the Pullman,
I'm
WA
going to
was
sack
provided to
Matthew.
the same
Let's get Stephanie. Come on, girl.
Pullman,
Nope,
Washington was
Matthew's
provided
staying.
to the
Okay.
Pullman, WA was provided to the same FBI forensic examiner. The forensic examiner identified the vehicle obscured in Pullman, Washington as being a
Let me write down for
2014
these
to
typos.
2016 Hyundai Elantra. At approximately 5:25 a.m., a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of suspect vehicle L, was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, Washington and on WSU campus. Cameras. The first camera that recorded a white sedan was located at 1300 Johnson Road in Pullman. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound on Johnson Road. Johnson Road adds directly back to West
Wow.
Palouse River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with Conestoga Drive. The white sedan was then observed coming north on Bishop Boulevard and northwest on
Damn.
SR 270. At approximately 5:2 m, the white Elantra was observed on cameras traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street, Stadium Way at Grimes Way, Stadium Drive at Wilson Road, and Stadium Way at Cougar Way.
Gosh.
I'd
Depiction
rather
showing
read
Moscow
this.
and Pullman. Depiction showing white Elantra's path of travel, not to scale. 8. I. 3.
Look at this part.
Plus
Let's
law.
just jump over this
3.
mess.
T.
Wow. It's
Q.
horrible.
Tard. On November 25, 20/MPD asked ARCA law enforcement agents to BC on THC lookout. For work Hyundai
Okay.
Elantra's ITRLH. Arca o un.
I can't do the typos.
No.
I thought he said THC.
All right, I don't know. Do you want to read a couple pages,
Yeah.
Chisme, and then I'll read the end of them?
Okay, are we on page 10?
Pullman, let's start where it started getting crazy. Pullman, Washington was provided to the same FBI. I don't know what page that is. I'll tell you in 1 second. But I want to see those pictures, so
I think he was reading number 9, page 9.
page 8
Page 8. Yeah.
Page
is
8?
where
Oh,
it started getting crazy.
Yeah.
so go back to page 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have it on the screen. Yeah, page 8, Pullman, Washington. Let me share one page so I don't have to share my whole screen. Page 8.
Okay. You ready?
Wow, so, okay. So the guys seen around, they knew what type of car, what year it was, but they held that back. They told
Mm-hmm.
us what kind of knife it was. I mean, was it that much anger that he literally just goes in to kill four? I can't wrap my head around it. It is the same exact thing that Danny Rowland did and Ted Bundy in the sorority house. But the
Well,
thing
when you
about
get
Danny Rowland and him is they use the same thing, a K bar.
when you get
Hey,
further
little
down,
girl.
oh, is Fiona awake?
Yeah. Hello, Janet. Yeah, she just woke up.
When you get
Oh,
further down, you see that he was watching them. I mean, that's why they've got him for you know capital murder. Murder what?
but another
This was
interesting thing.
premeditated.
Oh, he was watching him all right, like back in those tree lines, like I was telling you guys,
Mm.
like a creeper.
I have a photo and it looks like he's behind them. The
Oh
two
God,
the
stop.
I'm serious.
Well, you can
I'll
show
show
it
it to you.
after if you want, but that's crazy.
Yeah, it
He was
looks like him in the
definitely
background.
definitely stalking. But the question is, if he was living in Pullman, Washington, even though people probably went to Moscow, it was so close. How did he find them? And Kaylee just came back into town for that one day.
Yeah, yeah, Lilac Breeze. He was stalking them since August. Correct.
Oh, Elliot's last name, Rogers. Okay, yeah. The shooter, the good looking kid in California with the college kids that day when he was going to go into the sorority.
Yeah, Raoul. He wasn't very clever as far as not buying a burner phone. Duh.
This guy is not a mass murderer, though. Their choice of weapon is not a knife. This guy is like, I think he would have been a serial killer. The age is perfect. Everything about him becoming a serial killer in my mind was perfect. Mass, I mean, guys, think about all the mass murders, all of them, the parades, um, 9/11. My gosh, I mean, all of them. They usually want the police to kill them. They want to die by a cop, or they kill themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, suicide by a cop.
Yeah, it's very seldom that we get one of those alive. When you think about it, the shootings at the clubs. I mean, they want to die. Rogers wanted to die.
Mm.
He just doesn't. Like I said, though, he could be mixed. He could be half serial killer and half mass murderer. Maybe he once had a. I don't know if he's ever had a girlfriend. He's a creeper. He just creeps me out 100%. His eyes are dead like a shark.
Yeah, they are.
All right, Chisme, go ahead, girl. We're gonna be here all night if we keep talking.
Okay. It says at approximately 5:25 a.m., a white sedan, which was consistent with the description of suspect vehicle 1, was observed on 5 cameras in Pullman, Washington, and on WSU campus cameras. The first camera that recorded the white sedan was located at 1300 Johnson Road in Pullman. The white sedan was observed traveling northbound on Johnson Road. Johnson Road leads directly back to West Palouse River Drive in Moscow, which intersects with Consatoga Drive. The white sedan was then observed turning north on Bishop Boulevard and northwest on SR 270 at approximately 5:27 a.m. The white Elantra was observed on cameras traveling northbound on Stadium Way at Nevada Street, Stadium Way at Grimes Way, Stadium Drive at Wilson Road, and Stadium Way at Cougar Way.
Yeah,
Was that nine?
I don't think we have to read any more of the affidavit. I think we all know it. But the next morning, the fact that he went back at 9 a.m. Do you think he went back because he's like, oh shit, I left my knife sheath there?
I think he realised that he didn't have the sheath, and he went, OMG, the only place I could have left it. He probably didn't know exactly where. I mean, we all know it was next to Maddie on the bed, but he's thinking, what the heck have I, done with it? Gone back there, and
So why not go in? I mean, they didn't wake up till noon.
yeah, but he wouldn't have known that. He wouldn't have known if there was cops in there taking statements.
Well, yeah, he would. He drove by. There was no cops out there.
Yeah, but he might be in his head. The scenario might be going, well, you know, are they in
Or
there laying in wait for me?
or was he like some serial killers do? They go back to the scene of the crime. They play around with the bodies. They move them around a little bit. Like these people are completely psychopaths.
Well, I can't get over the audacity that he wrote an essay to apply for an internship with the Pullman Police Department in the fall of last year.
Yeah, let's read that part. Chisme, you want to read that part in the morning where he goes back, and then we'll get into the 2 videos I want to play. Because Dale
What page
Carson,
was? Yeah,
my my guy, came back with Nancy Grace tonight.
I was gonna say on November 25th is when they located the car, and who it returned back to. It says on the affidavit on page 9.
Yeah,
Yeah, but what does it say about the next morning? Let me find it. What page it's on? They talk about him coming back.
they do.
Hold on one
Return
sec.
to Kohberger with a Washington tag.
Okay, I think investigators believe 2015 Elantra because his vehicle was captured December 13th by a license plate reader in Aloma. Oh, that's December. Jeez, hang on one second, guys. Okay, November. It's on page 12, Chisme.
Okay, start from the top.
Wait, that talks about a cell phone. One second. 2:42 a.m. Trying to find where he goes back the next day. Here it is. Okay, it's page 14, Chiz. Goes back the next. Hey, Brian. Goes back the next day. Hey, Thea.
Mm,
Right?
Wait.
yeah.
Oh, wait.
I would have Matthew read, guys, but he quit.
What page, what page was that again?
I've got it highlighted here,
Four.
Chiz. I'll read it. It says further review
Okay.
indicated that the Bryan's phone utilized cellular resources on November 13th that are consistent that the phone was leaving at the residence at 9 a.m. and traveled to Moscow, Idaho, and the phone utilized the cellular resources that covered the King Road residence between 9:12 a.m. and 9:21 a.m. And the phone next utilized the cellular services that are consistent with Bryan's phone traveling back to Bryan's residence at 9:32. So he didn't hang around for long.
How bizarre is that? I bet you he drove there just to see if there was any action going on yet.
Yeah,
What a creeper.
he did like a loop. If you look at the diagram that's on page 15, he from his residence he drove down, went to the house, did a loop, and then went back up to Pullman.
What a creeper. Not to mention the weeks. See, that's what gets me. That's what makes me think too. Is I'm so interested to find out what his connection is and how he knew them and the whole connection. If he even, I got a feeling he's going to talk. Or do you think he's going to try to say that he's innocent?
Well, I think he's going to plead not guilty, guarantee it.
But also, he did not know that they had his DNA on the belt button.
True. Well, then he might try to pull an insanity plea. But in saying that, that'd be pretty hard pressed because he's not shown any signs that he's got any mental illness. Do I think he has mental illness? Absolutely. Do I think he knows right from wrong? Absolutely. He knows what he did. He purposely did it. I mean, this guy drove down to a certain distance going towards, I mean, it's stated in the affidavit. He drove down to a certain distance, put his phone on airplane mode, thinking, okay, I'm safe now. They can't track my phone. Then when he's leaving, he turns it back on the way back. And he's got this gap of time
Right?
to try and attempt to conceal his location. If you were smart, you wouldn't have taken your goddamn phone in the first place. You would have left it on in your apartment. Hello? And you would have bought a burner phone. Ding dong.
Yeah, Dia, I heard that his sister was in a horror movie.
Oh, Jess, I agree, darling. I bet his computer will bring, when they go through his computer history. I mean, people tend to forget when you delete your history, it's not really deleted.
Hey, Leisha.
Hey,
Yeah, he
Lisa.
had plenty of time if he wanted to. He had to have known that they were on to him. Maybe tried to kind of throw him off with the gear of the white Elantra, and then he's changing the license plates and taking it off the front. I mean, I
It was
don't think he wanted to get caught. And obviously, he had plenty of time to take himself out if that was his plan. But it wasn't it ironic that the police went into his house at the same exact time he supposedly broke into the 1122 King?
I know.
Bone chilling.
I will pee my pants if his sister's in the movie Scream.
Well, maybe we're gonna have to watch it. I tried a couple of weeks ago, like I told you guys, but I just couldn't. I couldn't pull it off.
Mm.
Okay, let's watch the
Oh,
sidebar.
this creeped me out.
Yeah, this one's a good one. I watched this, but I haven't listened to Dale Carson and Nancy Grace yet. All right, here we go.
We go over the 5 biggest revelations from the newly unsealed probable cause affidavit in the University of Idaho murder case.
Oh,
I'm
wait,
joined by my co-host
Jesse.
Anjanette Levy
That's
and
too
legendary
fast.
former homicide
Too
detective.
fast.
Well,
Shit.
T. Weber.
Trinity
Yeah.
says the movie's called 2 Days Back.
Oh,
or
okay.
found guilty is up to death and imprisonment. Do you understand?
Yes.
Well, I will tell you that I was not
His
expecting
voice.
this
Hang
amount
on.
of detail in the probable cause affidavit. Biggest revelations from the newly unsealed probable cause affidavit in the University of Idaho murder case. I'm joined by my co-host Anjanette Levy and legendary former homicide detective Phil Waters. Welcome to Sidebar,
Get
presented
better,
by Law and
Lisha.
Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
And again, the maximum penalty for this offense, if you plead guilty
Hey,
or
me
found
too,
guilty,
Lisha.
is up to death and imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Well, I will tell you that I was not expecting this amount of detail in the probable cause affidavit. This was an affidavit from Moscow police officer Brett Payne in support of an arrest warrant of Bryan Kohberger. Now, Kohberger has officially been extradited back to Idaho after his arrest in Pennsylvania. He now faces 4 counts of first-degree murder and burglary for allegedly stabbing to death University of Idaho students Madison Mogen, Zahner Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, and Kaylee Gonsalves inside of their off-campus home. Their bodies were found on November 13th of last year. Kohberger has had his initial appearance in Idaho court. No bail was set. He was read the charges.
Look at him.
12 for a status hearing that will precede a preliminary hearing. But we have to talk about this probable cause.
Like, seriously. He looks like he's just walking in there like he got a traffic ticket. Hey, Trinity.
Very, very nonchalant.
Like stoic, not a care in the world. I
Yeah.
did what? What a monster.
Just stop it. You're gonna make me cough again. Stop.
You know what? I'm not going to say it. I got to put it in back chat, though, because, hang on a second.
Well, one of the signs of being on heroin is that you engage in risky behaviors and you have the burst of hyperactivity, like super strength.
Yeah, right. London Arrogant also. He just, I mean,
You
the
think?
head is up.
He's trying to see who's looking at him when he moves his evil eyes to the side view.
Well, when he came into the courthouse, he mouthed to his mom and dad and sisters that he loved them. Hey, girl, interrupted.
Yes, girl. She said he's loving all of this. Yeah. When he answers the judge, ugh, it sounds like he's loving it.
Oh, Tony. Okay, we're gonna accept that. I'm not sure there is a right way to look. I'm waiting for the evidence before I decide. Still open to innocent and framed. Not much though. Hey,
Yeah,
he's allowed to
everyone's
have that.
different. Mm-hmm.
50 agents flash banged into his house. Boom goes the dynamite. All right, let's listen to this.
Affidavit. And wow, just wow. Let me bring in my co-host here on Sidebar and the Law and Crime Network, Anjanette Levy, who's live in Idaho right now. And we also have with us legendary former homicide investigator Phil Waters, who's been following this case from the very beginning. It's great to have you both on. Phil, I am going to start with you. You called it.
And the type of knife that they're talking
Be right back.
about
Back, little girl.
Okay.
Break.
the United States Marine Corps K-bar. So when I saw this, my thought
God.
was is this
Ugh.
person prior military? So the specific weapon, if they're talking K-bar,
Look at the size of that knife.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even imagine. Oh my gosh, like I just poor Xana, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee. What a senseless crime. I can't even imagine.
He wasn't thinking of the consequences. He just did it as a spur of the moment thing. I can't think of the word.
That's no
That's
spur
it.
of the moment.
I don't know about the murder, which hasn't been recovered, and you pretty much nailed it because this is from the affidavit. As I entered this bedroom, I could see two females in the single bed in the room. Both Gonsalves and Mogan were deceased with visible stab wounds. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next
My
to Mogan's
gosh.
right side. The sheath was later processed and had K-Bar, USMC, and the United States Marine Corps Eagle Globe and Anchor insignia stamped on the outside of it. The Idaho State Lab later located a single source of male DNA left on the button snap of the knife sheath. Phil, what do you think?
Well, I tell you, I don't know that I nailed it. The first part of that was a K bar was what they talked about at the very beginning. Very specific about that being a K bar, and 1 + 1 still equals 2. So I surmise. In fact, I think when we first talked about this, I showed you the K bar that I have, that same type of sheath, sitting in my office at my home. So the I just think it's interesting that as brilliant as he has been paid to be, that he has left that piece of evidence behind at the scene.
Right?
And that's what we talk about. The suspect who has this, studying criminology and an interest in police to leave allegedly such an important piece of evidence just makes no sense. And Jeanette, we don't know where he got this weapon allegedly got. And not only that, can you also tell us the significance of the DNA on that sheath and how they were able to match it back to Kohberger?
Well, it's incredibly significant because the affidavit says that the DNA came from a single male contributor, and they were able to determine that it came from Bryan Kohberger. But the way they were able to determine that, according to the affidavit, was through going through his father's trash at the home in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, where Bryan Kohberger was later arrested. And it said that it was like a 99.99998% match or something,
Híjole.
some crazy, percentage, likely to be the son of, Michael Kohberger. So there's been a lot of discussion and reporting out there that this happened through genetic genealogy, that they were able to get the dad's DNA
I see the
through that.
resemblance.
And so we're thinking maybe that's likely true, since it discussed that in the probable cause affidavit. They went through the trash, got some items of DNA from that trash, and were able to make an identification and link things together through there.
And Anjanette, just real quick follow-up. We don't know if, where the knife was purchased. If I know there was talk about whether or not Kohberger's father was former military, but nothing like that. We don't have any indication, right?
We have no indication of that. One of our viewers asked a question about that, whether or not maybe his father had once been in the military. But, this is the type of thing where you could probably find this online or the pawn shop, what have you. They may be, out there floating around.
Okay, so now, Phil, I want to bring your attention to this, because later on in the affidavit, they said a short time later, DM, who, by the way, is the roommate, it was one of the two roommates on the ground floor, a surviving roommate. I use that word interestingly because this is what she said. In the affidavit, she said that she heard, or she thought that she heard, was Gonsalves say something to the effect of, "There's someone here." DM stated that she looked out of her bedroom but did not see anything when she heard the comment about someone being in the house.
Got that right.
DM
She
said
was
that
on the
she opened
second
the door
floor.
a second time when she heard what she thought was crying coming from Kernodle's room. DM then said that she heard a male voice say something to the effect of, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." DM opened her door for the third time after she heard the crying and saw a figure clad in black clothing, and a mask that covered the person's mouth and nose walking towards her. DM described the figure as 5'10" or taller, male, not very muscular, but athletically built with bushy eyebrows. The male walked past DM as she stood in a frozen shock phase. The male walked towards the back sliding glass door. DM locked herself in her room after seeing the male. She said she did not recognize the male, and this leads investigators to believe that the murderer left the scene. We had no idea this happened. So what's your reaction?
Why didn't he?
I think that is just
try
good
to
police work in terms of what was
do
released at the
something to
beginning of this
Dylan?
thing. We were told at the beginning
She's
that
very, very lucky.
the roommates on the first floor heard nothing, and there were a lot of pundits, a lot of people offering their opinions that was just amazing, that couldn't have happened, and this and so forth and so on, as though that was supposed to be revealed at that time. And I think I don't know this for certain, but my reading of that would be that was done for the protection of those witnesses and did not want to let anyone know that they had, in fact, seen more than what was conveyed in that initial press release.
Phil, does it make it odd that if this is true, why wouldn't he have killed her? And the second question is, why did she not immediately make a phone call? We know that a phone call was made from that residence, either from her or the other roommate. I almost knew what a response to people who are questioning this.
Well, people do different things under stress.
I can't wrap my head around that. And then you
No.
see you see him going out the sliding glass door. And you don't think maybe I should just go run upstairs since I heard screams and some weird guy in the house and let me just go check on him?
Yeah, exactly. And she's on the same floor as Zana and Ethan.
Yes.
So she could have just walked across the floor and popped her head in there. She didn't have to go upstairs. She would have automatically seen.
It's just still weird, Leisha, that she sees a guy wearing full black ninja gear in the house. And
I
then
would have
she
been on that
hears,
phone.
I would have probably definitely went upstairs and been like, hey, Maddie and Kaylee, or hello, Xana, just ordered Grubhub. Who was that guy in the house? But just to go to bed after you close the door like that, no, it's just weird. I guess people react differently, but
I think she was, curled up in a ball, shaking, waiting to see if he was going to walk in or what if he did walk in, but she was hiding, so he didn't get her. And then she just, couldn't. Her mind could have blanked out for her own protection.
actually, guys, she could have been the one that was passed out at the scene.
Yeah,
True.
because if you hyperventilate, then during a panic attack, you can pass out.
Oh, heck yeah.
Maybe she was the unconscious person on the 911 call. No,
Yeah, I
Possible.
think so.
could be right.
Yeah, but she does have some more explaining to do.
I mean, she may have already explained all this to the police. We don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we didn't know about her seeing him until we read it in the
But
affidavit.
I mean, when you think about it, Xana, I mean, the time that she ordered Grubhub and the time that he left, I mean, she was eating. It's just mind blowing.
Mm.
What
This
about
guy's
Grubhub?
Xana ordered Grubhub. Was there at 4 o'clock in the morning?
No, DoorDash.
I mean,
DoorDash.
Xana
Oh,
DoorDash.
so did they get to eat it, or did they deliver it? I
I
didn't
guess
know
Yeah,
that.
we'll.
yeah, it
I
was
guess we'll
delivered.
find that. I don't know if they ate,
Oh,
but and then Dylan was. I mean, Xana and Ethan sound like they were both found in her bedroom.
Yeah.
Yeah, she might have been the unconscious person. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt until we hear everything. Okay, let's listen. I'm going to speed these guys up.
And
and she's
while
not
it's
street
detailed in
smart.
the affidavit that she saw these things, we know that he saw him. He's moving around in the dark. He's got this mask over his mouth. Already done what he's going to do, or he's on the way. He's
Look at him.
it's to leave the structure. So he's not getting distracted with things going on around him. And remember, it's dark in there. So there's certainly what it indicates to me is that he didn't see her. She saw him, which was certainly to her benefit.
Yeah, and there's also, like you said, how do you judge somebody in that position for what they did? Maybe she froze, maybe she panicked. And
Yeah,
I got to talk to you.
Yeah, and just
I'll give you a final word on that.
to address the lack of a phone call at that point in time. She locked the door and she was away from it, and she saw the guy leave. So maybe she thought at that point, he's gone. I'm locked in and we're done here, not having any idea what had actually happened.
Yeah,
Jenna,
that
I got to
makes
go
sense.
to some of the biggest piece of evidence. I mean, how did they track him, right? We talked about the DNA. The cell phone evidence I find to be so crucial. Can you briefly summarize for our listeners and our viewers the significance of the cell phone evidence?
The cell phone evidence is incredibly significant, and one piece there. Self
And like she's got some of this recorded on the TikTok. Look at the time that she did a TikTok, 4:12 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really scary.
Have y'all seen it? The TikTok video?
Oh no, that TikTok video is probably with law enforcement. That would be creepy.
I mean, Trinity, that's a really good point. What you made, that he knows about there was a shooting in Washington, but doesn't know the whole country is looking for a white Elantra. Valid point. Who
Right?
owns a white Elantra? They're looking for, somewhere not far from where your son lives, in Pullman, Washington.
I mean, to be a father, though, do you think driving back and after being pulled over 2 times and the white Elantra, you start thinking, did my son have something to do with it?
Well, it would, or, wonder if Brian knows something. And then to get, have SWAT come and raid your house, then your mind got to start asking yourself the question.
Right? I bet you don't ever think in a million years, yeah, well, you have to remember, too, is they kept saying the year of the car was 2011 to a 2013. But it was a 2015. Exactly, Leisha. At 417 is when the it's picked up on the 1118 house
1112.
at 417.
Yeah.
So that's 4 minutes, 5 minutes later from the TikTok video. That's scary. I bet you there is something on that TikTok video.
That's the house where the girl had her luggage messed with, and she found her panties
Yeah.
in the middle. So she at
That's
that
the
time
blue
said,
house. That's the blue house.
yeah, she said that she was gonna get a camera because of people passing right through her, by her room.
Mm.
I wonder if that was it. She said she had ordered it.
Yeah, the dad had a little bit of a surprise, like what the heck's going on look. But the second pullover, Brian's face, he looks like, oh shit, this might be it. They got me.
Mm.
He just looks like his eyes are just, okay, let's go, are so telling.
the night of murder. So there's
Be back.
on that cell phone start pinging
Okay.
against a tower again until after police believe the homicides were committed. Also, that cell phone evidence, according to the affidavit, shows that he was in the area of that home on at least 12 occasions between August and November 13th. That
Mm,
August stop, one of the instances in which his phone was determined to be in that area of the King Road house was on August 21st of that year. He was pulled over at 11:40 p.m. Near the house for a seatbelt violation, and that's a Sunday night. So you would think a
that look
PhD
right
student,
there,
if it was
Kaz. Look.
indeed him and his
Yeah, I
phone
know.
in this area, remember he's maintaining his innocence.
I
Why is
bet he
he
had skiddies in his undies.
the cell phone
I
evidence
bet
in
he
this case,
did.
I think, is significant. I don't think you can hang your hat on it entirely. It's just another kind of piece of the mosaic that is going to, paint this picture that they kept talking about. Law enforcement kept saying they were getting new pieces of information that really painted a picture of what happened that night. And I think it's just another piece of the puzzle or that picture.
Yeah, so there was a question about if he was stalking the victims. Well, as we said, 12 times before this night, they have the cell phone in this key location, by the house. And as you mentioned, his cell phone turns off during the time of murders and then comes back on right afterwards. So that's significant. Phil, we talk about how this guy, the suspect is a criminology student, has this interest in criminology, and yet leaving this breadcrumb of trails. The cell phone evidence is one thing. Oh, let's talk about
He's
Sunday
clenching his
just
jaw.
overall on this, because basically everybody an idea about the car. There were cameras tracking the car's movement for a long time. And there was even one surveillance video where they see him exit the car. So we know that it belongs to him. We know it's registered to him. They have this car leaving WSU at 2:44 in the morning on the night of the murders. It makes its way to Moscow. It initially makes passes of the house in the early morning hours. It enters the area at 4:04 a.m. and then drives fast from that crime scene at 4:20 a.m. and then is back in Washington at 5:25 a.m. Again, what is your reaction to the way police were able to track him?
Just good old-fashioned detective work. I said from the beginning that that's what's going to crack this case.
Yep.
And that's what they did. These guys hit the
He shut his
grindstone
phone
and put
off.
their
Yeah,
noses to it.
Lilac.
And the first ones they're going to do, we talked about,
Right
they're
as
going to any kind
just
of
during the
video or
murders.
surveillance evidence that they can draw from, and that's exactly what they did. In reference to the cell phone, I can't enough to turn it off when he was in there doing what he was allegedly doing, but he wasn't smart enough to turn it off the entire time that he's making his reconnaissance of that structure in those meetings.
We got a minute. I want to really briefly talk about this because I thought this was another big revelation. We learned some background history.
Absolutely,
on the
Lola.
defendant as well,
It was
didn't we?
definitely premeditated.
We learned about a post that was as well, viewers, listeners, what we learned about his interest and background.
I think it's really interesting about the Reddit post that he, they cited that in the affidavit because that is one of the first things we found when we started looking for information after we learned his name last Friday. And it's a survey that had been asking for criminals to respond or people who had committed crimes to talk about their emotions. And I found that to be really
He is
interesting.
so
that the
scary.
police found that was worth mentioning in the probable cause affidavit. And I want to know why they felt that was important, talking about the emotions that people feel, what they're trying to get at when they put that in the probable cause affidavit. Obviously, criminology. We know that he was a PhD student studying that. We know from talking to students at DeSales University, he had taken undergraduate classes, one taught by Catherine Ramsland, who specializes in serial killers. So
He's got a
we
pretty
learned that the
public
police were on
defender.
to
She
all of
better
this. And I think
sit
another
away
funny
from
thing
him.
about this, or not funny per se, but interesting thing is that the whole time they were telling us they didn't have a suspect, they were on to him. They were on to him in November, late November. So I thought that was another interesting part of this.
Yeah, I agree, because that goes into more of the idea of motive, the motivation. What would have led someone to do this? Didn't get from this affidavit very clearly is the why. Maybe we'll get that later on, but right now we just understand what led police to ultimately arrest Mr. Kohberger. Phil Waters and Jeanette Levy, thank you both so much for taking the time.
Thank you, Jesse. I'll put all the links in the description after the live. I have them on a note card. Okay, guys, let's go to Nancy Grayson. I have not heard. I know I got excited right there. Sorry. Did we tell Dale Carson? Shit, hang on. Nancy, stop being rude. Okay. Did we tell Dale that we still want to talk to him?
Not since Brian's been made the person of interest. No. But with me having COVID, I'm not going to do nothing, darling.
I have not heard what he has had to say since he was caught, and I have not listened to any of this yet. So this is going to be exciting.
I'm going to love you and leave you because I'm going to go and have some dinner because I haven't eaten all day.
All right.
I'll leave you with the lovely Chisme. She's
all right,
upside
bon
down in chat.
appetit.
Yeah, I'm having lasagna.
Well, I hope you feel a lot better.
Yeah, I was feeling great yesterday, but today I've gotten all stuffed up in the nose again and my cough's come back. So bloody Ross goes to work for one day and brings Jones back from the hospital. How rude.
You better stop blaming him. It's your daughter's fault.
This is true.
Okay.
She started all this.
Yeah, your daughter brought back the cooties from the cruise.
She did.
The night she got engaged and she got COVID all in one. Like that was a busy night for her.
It was. Okay.
Right, Tony? I have not heard this. Okay,
All
love
right.
you guys. Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.
Love you. Bye bye. Get better.
Ooh, hang on. Let me get the Lysol.
I hate COVID.
Spray. Let me spray the Lysol in the room so we don't get sick. Ooh, she has COVID. Australian COVID. Yeah, I'm excited, guys. I have not heard this yet, and I'm dying to hear what Dale Carson has to say. And of
I
course,
haven't seen
Nancy
it.
Grace with her rudeness. Huh?
I haven't seen it either.
Me neither.
But
Okay.
you gotta love Nancy.
All right. You either love her or hate her. She's definitely she's a required taste. Sometimes I like her, and sometimes I want to poke her in the eye through the computer screen.
Sometimes
Hey, Fiona.
I get pissed because she disrespects the other experts. Like, how how she
Right.
is. But I love her.
All right. Here we go, guys. Let's get a Nancy Grace fix. We're gonna have to speed it up. Okay, we're good. All right. Here we go.
The prime and Idaho mass killing of 4 beautiful young Idaho University students has waived extradition. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us here at Fox Nation and Sirius XM 111. What happens now? Well, take a listen to this.
It is a quirk, apparently. It's not in the norm of the states I'm familiar with that Idaho does not release their probable cause affidavit in support of their arrest warrant until after their defendant is returned to that state.
I'm here for Dale, guys.
But having
I
read
love
those
Dale
documents
Carson.
and the sealed affidavits of probable cause, I definitely believe that one of the main reasons the defendant chose to waive extradition and hurry his return back to Idaho was the need to know what was in those documents. So that's a significant development.
You are hearing Mike Mancuso, the first assistant district attorney in Monroe County, that's in Pennsylvania, where Kohberger has been held and we believe is being held.
All right, Chisby, if you want me to pause, let me know. I'm going to go grab some more water.
The judge in this case, the judge, as far as it goes in Pennsylvania, ordered the defendant to be transported back to Idaho to be there within 10 days. Now, an extradition hearing is actually a very simple matter, but Kohberger waived his right to an extradition hearing. And you're hearing Mancuso opine that it's because he has an insatiable desire to know the intimate facts supporting his arrest. What more do we know about the extradition? Take a listen to our friends at Inside Edition.
Bryan Kohberger, accused of slaughtering the 4 Idaho University students, appears in court in shackles. His mother and sister arrived for the brief hearing arm in arm, their faces masked. His father, also wearing a mask, was a few steps behind them. When Bryan Kohberger entered the courtroom here in Pennsylvania, his eyes went directly to his family members seated in the front row, dad, mom, and 2 sisters, all holding tissues. Kohberger listened intently to the judge, even responding verbally with answers like, yes, I have, yes, I understand. Now, when he was led out of the courtroom, he did look back at his family and mouthed the words, I love you.
We also know that the judge specifically asked him in court, is he mentally competent to waive the extradition hearing? And he answered, yes, I am. But I've heard from a different source that his lawyer there in Pennsylvania also ordered a psychological exam. Now, what does that mean? Does that make sense? Does that jive that he's saying, yes, I'm mentally competent to waive extradition while his lawyer is filing a psychological exam request? No, it is not consistent. But guess what? It doesn't have to be. This judge, Judge Margarita Worthington, I got to hand it to her, was very succinct, not to the point of being curt, but succinct and by the book. And that is what we need right now. And I'll tell you why. This guy is on his way to a PhD in criminology. He probably thinks he knows it all. He has studied criminal procedure. He knows a lot about the system. And I guarantee you, he is writing it down somewhere and giving it to his lawyers every time he thinks there has been some sort of constitutional error, such as he didn't get his Miranda rights or he wasn't given a lawyer immediately when he asked for one. It could be any number of things. That's just hypothetical. But I guarantee you, the state, and I mean the transporters that carry him to Idaho, the jail guards, the judge, the lawyers, better cross their T's and dot their I's, because this guy is watching everything with me. An all-star panel to make sense of what we know right now. First, I want to go straight out to the director and founder of the Cold Case Research Institute, forensic expert, and currently on the beat. That's right. She's current law enforcement. You can find her at coldcasecrimes.org, Cheryl McCollum. Okay, Cheryl McCollum, the whole time you and I were trying to figure out who is the killer. Did you expect anybody like Bryan Christian Kohberger?
No, I expected it to be somebody very close in the neighborhood, so to speak. I thought he would be within 15 miles. I thought he would know the area. I still believe it was targeted. I think he knew these folks somehow. And I thought it was somebody very, bright, but I had no idea that it was going to be a PhD student who had been studying different killers.
Hey, Cheryl, guys, let me also remind you, Cheryl McCollum just launched an incredible new podcast that I love, even though I haven't been formally invited to be on yet. Zone 7. This is
She's so abrasive.
An incredible inside look at what law enforcement does every single day. All the things that go behind what we have right here. And I'm going to throw this out to Dale Carson. And remember, everybody, again, I don't know why I have to keep telling you guys, we're not having high tea at Windsor Castle with King Charles. Okay? Jump in, for Pete's sake, if you have an idea, because a lot of the ideas that we generated right here, I've seen police doing. I certainly don't take credit for what they're doing, but jump in. You never know. No prosecutor, no cop can't do with a little help. So to Dale Carson joining me, high-profile lawyer out of Jacksonville. This is what I really like about him, former FBI agent and former cop in Miami-Dade. And I'd like to say there's certainly no lack of business there. So he's got plenty of war stories, which right now I'm not interested in Dale Carson. I'm interested in Bryan Christian Kohberger. You just heard Cheryl McComb say, well, I thought he was this, I thought he was that, but I didn't expect Bryan Kohberger. Everything she said describes Bryan Kohberger. I think it is his demeanor and his appearance is something we really did expect. He's a hulking 6 foot tall, but he's a wraith. And very, very thin, I guess due to his strict vegan diet. But he's very pale. He's almost emaciated looking. And he has a very intense stare, which I would not like to see looking through my bedroom window. I can just tell you that much. But Cheryl McCollum also described someone that was brilliant. I don't know how brilliant he was, but that's what his teachers say. Can I tell you something, Dale Carson? Which you probably already know. When you get a PhD, of course you have a Juris Doctorate. But when I went on to get a LLM after my law degree, you get to steer your studies. All right. And Joe Scott Morgan and I've talked about this a little bit. I got my degree, my additional degree in constitutional and criminal law. And I studied all things criminal from the perspective of how do you prosecute and catch and build all sorts of criminal cases, RICO, video gambling, you name it. This guy, Dale Carson, picked interviewing and questioning violent felons with questions like, what were you thinking at the time you killed her? What was going through your mind? What about it, Dale Carson?
Well, I mean, this is sort of like Bundy anyways, and they have that fixed stab that Wayne Williams had, and they simply are thinking that they know more than everybody else, which is typical of a sociopath or a narcissist in the extreme. And that seems to be where he's coming from, which means that he doesn't have any compassion for anybody. And in that light, it makes it easier to kill somebody. And I am always of the belief that he's doing this because very few people who are at that level of education also have committed the crimes. And if he were successful at this, he'd have a leg up over everybody else who discusses this. We had a police professor at University of Florida who came and worked for the and then wrote a book about it because he had actual, not just academic, but actual experience about what law enforcement officers went through. And it wouldn't surprise me in the least if he's not headed the same direction.
Except he's not finding out what cops are going through. He's finding out the emotions and the thinking and decision-making of violent felons like murderers and rapists at the time they commit the crime. Jackie, did I just actually say Bryan Christian Kohberger? You did. Because it's Bryan Christopher Kohberger. I guess thinking about this guy makes me want to say a prayer in the back of my head. It's Bryan Christopher Kohberger. Okay, speaking of his very bizarre research, take a listen to our cut 216, our friends at Fox 13.
Ghosh is part of the computer science department. He says Kohberger talked to him about his studies in the criminology and criminal justice department.
So I was like, how to do your research? I think he said like he does experiment, like goes and talk to people.
Ghosh believes Kohberger lived alone. The Associated Press also reports that he graduated from Northampton Community College in Pennsylvania, with a spokesperson from the college saying that he received an Associate of Arts degree in psychology in 2018. Kohberger's apartment is only about a 15-minute drive from the rent.
Wow. Yeah, the vegan thing. And then, of course, there's that rumor that if he was to eat meat, he would turn into a cannibal, but I don't know where that came from. I saw it on Twitter.
Yeah, I heard that somewhere.
You know, black. And also, one of his classmates said that he was really heavy back in school, and he lost a lot of weight. Hey, Ray. All right, I got to go get the ferret, guys. I'll be right back. Oh, never mind. Here she comes. All right, here we go. What'd you say, Chiz? Go ahead.
No, I was laughing about the ferret.
No, you said about Nancy Grace or something.
I forgot. Oh, because you said it. What I was thinking.
Oh. So Dale's claiming that he might be a sociopath. That's pretty scary. He's something. And you have to honestly think that there's no way he saw Dylan. Yeah, that's what I heard, Leisha, too. He was a big boy. Yeah, that's another thing about earlier, about him with the pots and the plates. Well, in the kosher diet, in the Orthodox, they don't mix the dairy and the meat, and they don't eat shellfish, and they don't eat pig, any scavenger.
Wow.
So, is it that he's running that vegan thing with the meat not being in the pan because he's got a little Orthodox in him? Or is it the rumor that if he tastes meat, he's going to turn into Hannibal Lecter? Maybe he tried tasting the dog meat. I mean, I'm convinced
Yeah.
you cannot have two people in Idaho, one skinning a dog and one killing 4 college kids at the same time. I mean,
Yeah. That heroin will mess up your, you know, your brain, and then
I don't
once
know.
once
Oh,
it damages your brain, there's no, your brain can't heal itself, so you
yeah, I
damage
don't think
the
this guy's on
nerves.
heroin. This guy is powered by his own mind sickness adrenaline. Yeah,
If he was on
my,
heroin, he doesn't look like he's having withdrawal symptoms unless they're giving him methadone or something.
you are so cute, Chisme. Everyone with you is on drugs.
Who else?
Um,
No.
yeah, there was one. Oh, Christina Powell, my girl that
No,
cooked in the, my
well,
girl
she
that cooked.
was drinking.
Hey, Lana. Oh, that's right. Allegedly, he did drugs in high school, and his sister lived next door. There's so many rumors, though. But he could be, he could have done heroin, meth, shrooms, ecstasy, fentanyl. I don't know.
Yeah. I was wondering how he could graduate if he's on all the drugs, but maybe he was on the ecstasy or Adderall. Yeah, Alicia.
Hey, Dragonette, maybe. I guess we're gonna find out. I mean, they probably did a blood test on him. Is drug use by BK rumor or verified? I never heard BK. Oh, I don't know if it's verified. I'm gonna go look though. Why we listen to Nancy Grace?
Rental home where the 4 students were stabbed to death.
I'm going to go to Joe Scott, but quickly I want to circle back to Cheryl McCollum. And Karen, start joining me. I hope you're percolating on everything you're hearing. Cheryl McCollum, I seem to recall that on 1 or 2 occasions you were in and out of the pretrial negotiation room when we would have an arraignment calendar of, 100, 150 people, all felons.
Absolutely.
I had a particular judge, Judge Luther Alverson, one of the best judges I ever practiced in front of. My investigator, and the defense attorney for each defendant would come into the room, and the defendant, even the jail defendants, they'd be brought over, and they would sit in initial pretrial negotiation, where I would say either there's not going to be a deal, this guy's going to trial, or I would give a plea negotiation.
So tough,
Can I tell you something? I never once dealing with child rapists, murderers, burglars, killers. I never once thought to ask, at the moment you stabbed her in the torso, what were you feeling? That is bass backwards. What is that?
Well, it's probably out of my
I know it's out of your league, but in all those times, it's out of my league. All right, I'm not a shrink, but do you remember all those defendants? Who would think, hey, Jackie, when you raped that little kid, what were you thinking? Oh, hell no. I would say something like, you make me sick.
Week one, and I said this guy was going to have some esque tendencies to him.
Oh, there goes Cheryl McCombs, own 7, patting herself on the back. Go on, Cheryl.
I'm just trying to lay it out for people.
Wow, a mass killing across from Fraternity Row. That was a tough stretch. Go ahead.
Nope, that's not it. Ted Bundy not only studied the law, which you know, but he also volunteered at a rape crisis center. So for him, that was porn. He got off on that. This guy did the same thing. He's studying criminology, so he's studying how do I get away with this, but it's more than that for him. He wants to know how other criminals felt during the crime. And that's what I'm telling you. You can wrap this whole thing up with a bow. It's obvious to me exactly why he would want to study what he did and why he would want to talk to criminals and not victims.
To Karen Stark joining me, renowned New York psychologist joining us out of Manhattan. You can find her at karenstark.com. And I always tell you, because it's kind of hard to find, unless she wants to do a name change, it's Karen with a C, Caryn. Karen Stark. What is this? Because you know how I always say this and you would laugh down your intellectual snoot when we were at Court TV together, when I would say, hey, if the devil shows up at the front door, don't invite him in for dinner. He might just unpack his bag and stay overnight. Then you won't be able to get rid of him. In other words, when you flirt with something you know is wrong, I don't know, like pornography or heroin, something you know is going to destroy you or could destroy you. Why flirt with it? Why entertain it? Why invite it to stick around? But that's exactly what he did. He did not only major in criminology, which thank God people do major in criminology, but he became intimately obsessed with it and facilitated his own sick interest in it. Karen?
I read the whole thing, Nancy, and it was really chilling, because his questions were that specific. And I really do agree with Cheryl that he knew exactly why he wanted to do it. This guy was getting very excited.
I think that was an example.
He got off on reading all of this. There's no doubt about it. He wanted to know what it felt because he was putting himself in that place. I also feel like in some ways he was rehearsing and getting ready to kill if he hadn't already killed and wanted to relive it. So, I mean, this is just so incredible that somebody who studied it to that degree, it's even more than Bundy, because he was living his life in those questions. That was his life. He wanted to know what went on with these people because he was one of them.
I completely apologize for saying you look down your intellectual.
I mean, at the end of the day, a few of the serial killers went to medical school. Craigslist, Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy. I mean, that's 4 that I can just name off the top of my head without even Googling. That's actually pretty creepy. I'm convinced he would have been a serial killer.
That is creepy. Can you imagine if they had to do wound care on patients and they were getting off on it?
Right? The Craigslist killer was weird. He just robbed people. Then that one girl fought back and he shot her. But it's just yeah, these are some different people. Got to be something in the frontal of the lobe of the brain, because I think I've watched every serial documentary in the last 2 months of every one that's out there, from Australia. I mean, Russia, everywhere. No wonder why I can't sleep good at night anymore.
Yeah, their brains, when they do x-rays or CAT scan on their brains, they are different. They're normal people, I heard.
They got a special kind of special. It's going to be interesting to see how the court hearings play out. I mean, in a way, I don't want his family. You want to say hi? Say hi. I don't want the family to have to relive it, and but then at the selfish part of me, because I do like trials, go lay down. I want to see it. I want to see. Isn't that's mean of me to say that?
Don't
Kitty,
mention
stop.
trials because I didn't go to jury duty.
Yeah, you're a bad girl. Well, jury. So keep listen. Stop making it sound like you're a criminal of the law because it was jury selection that you didn't show up.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, the brain scans.
Oh,
It
there's
always
6
seems
states.
like something traumatic
Mhm.
happened, or the father wasn't home, or the. But Ted Bundy seemed to have a pretty normal life, except for the fact that his biological mother was raised as his sister. I mean, and then he found out that it was really his mother.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, Ray, I hope it. I mean, I don't want to be rude, but I hope it goes to trial. Okay, let's go, guys. It's getting late. Early.
That was not a very nice way of describing. And then you just
We're
and
gonna
then you
have to
just
speed it up,
explained it
Ray. We're gonna be here all
so
night.
beautifully and actually with poignance. I mean, okay, let's go with a harsh reality. Joe Scott Morgan joining me. Guys, we've got so many awesome guests. I haven't even gotten to CC Moore at Brilliant. Now, that's what Brilliance really is. Chris McDonough, Dave Mack joining me. I'm going as fast as I can, guys. Joseph Scott Morgan is not only a professor of forensics at Jacksonville State University, he's the author of Blood Beneath My Feet, and now he's a star of another hit series, Body Bags with Joe Scott Morgan. And you can catch him on Dr. Field coming up soon. I guess on Idaho is what you're going to be talking about.
Is that too fast,
Joe
guys?
Scott. Okay. This guy, obviously, I hate to even say
Sounds
his name, Kohberger. Because that's going to be a name we're going to remember forever, Joe Scott, just like we talk about Bundy and BTK and all the others, Jack the Ripper. It just goes on and on. Israel Keys. It's like conjuring up a horrible, horrible vision. And no, for everybody online that goes, wow, you're convicting him before the trial. No, I'm not. All the evidence that's already out there, right? And find out the DNA doesn't match. We don't know what's going to happen. This is what we know right now. Joe Scott Morgan, I believe Kohberger romanticized crime. He was obsessed with criminals and what they do. And I say this because I've had to force jurors to look at the crime. And I remember one of the last, he was a serial killer, but we had him on one crime for sure. So I tried him for that. And there was an autopsy photo that had to be shown to the jury so you could see the subdural, in other words, beneath the scalp bruising, about how hard this victim.
I don't know much about the brain, medulla oblongata. Like that's like the base or something, right? The bottom of the brain to the spinal cord. But I think it's something with the front of the brain that when damage happens there, like you lose like the emotion and that part of empathy, like something in that part of the brain is what holds that power. I think I should become a professor on serial killers. I'm only kidding.
Was hit in the head. And I'll stay in the court was a slideshow.
Hey, Jim Carrey TV 2.
Hello, Mr. X.
Point. I'm going to have to stop doing this because it was just so upsetting when you see the reality of murder as opposed to the romanticization of murder, like you see on TV, and oh, how I love Angela Lansbury.
I said Mr. X.
Or something like that, even Monk, even CSI, even all the BritBox murder mysteries. You don't really see the reality of what murder is, much less.
Yeah, we see it every day, Nancy. The female lawyer, I don't know. There's four public defenders in Latah County, and two of them said, I'm not touching it, and there's two left, unless he's going to get some big-time lawyers that, want to make a name for themselves or get out there. Going to be interesting to see how the court plays out.
And I'm worried about the lawyer because what he did to the girls, she kind of looks like them from the back. What if he gets loose and then he does something to her? Or he's probably getting off on
Be
having her
crazy.
be his lawyer.
That's why I said earlier she better not sit too close to the monster.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a creeper. I'm sure she's safe though. Hello, de-icer. Yeah, we love Mr. X. People give me shit. I'm like, get over it, people.
For
Yeah,
vibrant,
I like you, Mr. X.
beautiful, just full of life, hopes, dreams, Idaho University students. But for a moment, Joe Scott, take me there to the darkness of what this murder
Take me
scene
to the darkness,
really
she
was at the hands, according to police, of Bryan Christopher Kohberger.
In those two areas, this environment would have been a bloodbath. Just understand that anytime an edged weapon is used and it is introduced into an individual's body over and over and over again, that area that they're laying in, and I would assume that at this point, I don't know, but in these two beds, it would have just been super saturated in blood. And when you brought up that visual of going in the courtroom and touching those images on the display, defense attorneys many times will say, well, this is prejudicial. I counter that with this. This is the last time that these victims will have an opportunity to speak, and they speak through these images. And let me tell you something. When those images are flashed at a trial in the future, that will be them speaking. This is what.
And let's not forget, how many photos are we talking about?
Tons.
Over 4,000 photos.
Ooh.
It's Mr. X, guys. Yeah, I am going to look into that. Yeah, that's Mr. X, guys. That's not Jim Terry. 4,000 crime scene photos. Could you imagine if it does go to trial, how long it's going to take?
Yeah.
And he'll probably just sit there. Just like Danny Rollins did, just like Ted. Well, Ted Bundy was definitely a character representing himself and prolonging stuff, so they wouldn't put him in the chair. But he reminds me of Danny Rollins. I'm not changing it. I felt it even before I knew who he was. If you go back, I've told Chisme too. He gives me Danny Rollins vibes. Completely. Except for he didn't leave one of the people's heads on a bookshelf before he left.
Ew.
He did. He killed 5 university students off of campus in 3 different locations with a K-bar.
Damn it.
All right. Let's go.
Me and whoever did this would have been saturated in blood. And there will be a super silent moment in the courtroom. You probably experienced that. And that will happen. And that will
Profit.
Oh my God.
What the heck?
Turn around and I could hear them throw up outside. That's not just in the movies. That's real. Ever something that made you sick? Just the smell, just like, oh. The blood, as Joe Scott just says, gelatinous.
Yeah, Mr. X, you should probably put your name in that Jim Terry 2, or like Jim Terry 2 X. I don't know, maybe put like a little X in there, a big X. I don't know.
It could be like dry, gelatinous jello, hair pulled out of the victim's head, caught in the blood. Just, I really don't want to describe it. If I had to try this case, I would describe it. I think that's you, Joe Scott.
No, it's me, Dale.
Jump in, Dale.
Not just the smell, because after you're through cleaning up a scene like that, analyzing it, then you got to get in a car and ride around as a partner to your other investigator and not be sick for an entire day.
And no matter how many times I would, I'm saying, and I'd have to go back to the courthouse, and I'd go in a lady's bathroom. And I remember they had at the time that you hit the dispenser and a powder comes out. It's not liquid soap. And I would scrub and I'd try to roll up my sleeves on my dress. At that time,
I agree with you.
People, and I just wash some type of blood thing on me. Chris McDonough is joining us. Of course, CeCe Moore. No offense to the other guests, but I'm saying the best for last today. CeCe, hold on. CeCe is joining me, Chief Genetic Genealogist at Parabon Nanolabs, and she's brilliant. Chris McDonough is joining me, Director, Coltes Foundation, former homicide detective. He's worked over 300 homicides, and I found him in the interview room on a YouTube channel. Chris, you have seen the home. You heard what Joe Scott said. I want to hear your thoughts about how this guy was so obsessed with violent crime. I mean, I'm obsessed with fighting crime. I'm not obsessed with the thinking. A violent offender, what he was thinking when he raped a child or he murdered somebody with a knife. I don't want to go in that head.
Don't get it.
I don't want that stuck in my head. That's why the state doesn't have to prove the motive. But I want to hear, you have viewed the home and the area. I want to hear your thoughts as for what we know to be true of the crime scene and his obvious rapture with crime.
Yeah, Nancy, I mean, now that we're learning a lot more about this individual,
I'm sorry, but every time I hear Chris McDonough speak now, I think of Doug from No Thanks when he did that parody on New Year's Eve.
Sometimes I find myself.
I'm sorry, but that shit was funny.
Yeah, I sometimes I find myself doing the S like him. Faux show. I don't know how he says it.
I can't even. I'm not good doing impersonations, but yeah, he does something. And he talks about the camper. Yeah, okay, let's not be mean, but he does a good one. It's funny. Let's she. It's like a she shed. Yeah, that's it. The she. Think of your she shed.
Did someone donate the camper
shed?
or whatever you call it to Chris McDonough?
I don't know how he got that camper, but yeah, just think of the she shed. Shh, shh. You know, instead of saying she, say shh, she shed. Okay, stop.
So
We're
I
gonna
was
go to hell.
singing. So I was singing at the show. No.
See, you're gonna make me.
I tried.
Oh, stop! Here we go, guys.
That I have that comes to me.
Oh my God!
And I think everybody on this panel would agree is probably the deafening silence after the homicides.
The silence in the homicide.
Knowing all the victims, but if we correlate, remember always every behavior has a purpose. And for this guy, that behavior started early with those questions in his educational studies. And I think the crime scene would reflect those questions because what he was trying to do, it appears, is, narrow the scope of error to his advantage. And so what I come away with, knowing the neighborhood, is at this point, I think there is a lot of full court press technical, pressure being applied in the investigation. I think the investigation is compressing.
What does that mean?
So I think what happens is, as we all have experienced, is in something this high profile, the investigators compress the investigation in, meaning they tighten.
You guys, I can't stop laughing over here. You guys are going to get me in trouble. It's going to be a shit show if you guys keep it up. This is all No Thanks' fault. See what you did? You caused a shit show, Doug.
A little bit quicker because now you have defense investigators, and they're going to go back and circle back through your witnesses, your evidence, and so you as a team is keep moving forward on the technical data side quickly. The car, the phones, any type of analysis that's going to put him in what we would call contact points with these through victimology.
Okay, can I follow up on what you just said? I really
Yes, ma'am.
believe that they will,
Sorry,
and I'm
Chris.
referring to police law
Mad
enforcement.
respect
It
to
can
you,
be the
buddy.
FBI. I don't know which law enforcement arm it's going to be. I really believe that they are going to place the defendant, Kohberger, in on multiple occasions, showing that he had stalked the victims, had spied on the victims, had maybe looked in their window.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically for you, Chris McDonough, which again, I just can't say how much I appreciated your drive-through you did on the interview room, because it showed me how, and I want the listeners to know,
Michelle.
they can see it too.
Dia.
The area of King Road where the victims live, you go up an incline and around, and there's a parking lot. There's no way out except the way you came in. And that parking lot looks like it borders on trees, but it's not very dense at all. You can see from that parking lot.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like us doing, I think that was the first time we ever did it. But I'm sorry, I was definitely laughing my ass off over here. But when you're listening to gory things like this, and you kind of stop, and I'm kind of glad that Chris McDonough stepped in, because I was getting really kind of just like in a shitty mood listening to that, and how sad it is.
I
Like
mean,
what this
I think
kid
it's
did in 20
cute.
minutes, destroyed
Yeah.
so many lives. And when Chisme did it, I'm sorry, that was hilarious. But yeah, he does it a lot. I don't watch Doug that much anymore. I kind of veered away from watching anyone that talks about what I already know. Isn't that horrible?
No.
I just watch like the people that I want to get the news from, like the people that get it. I'm too busy. And when I do have a little free time on YouTube to roam the streets, I'm not going to lie, I'm probably in the drama community, hanging out with my friends and just throwing tomatoes. Okay, here we go, guys.
Right into the victim's house. How many times do you think Kohberger sat
With Black Eagle.
and got
I
down in
made
those
mine.
trees?
Iconic.
They're in the light in the home, they're dark, and they think they see trees. They have no idea that somebody like Kohberger could be right there watching them change clothes, watching the girlfriend and her boyfriend make out, watching God only knows what he could have been watching.
This should serve as a warning to all young women in colleges.
Nancy, can I jump in?
Please do.
When you leave King Road, one of his escape routes will take you right to that farm road in West Pullman.
What? All right. Okay. Yes.
Right,
okay.
where
Yes.
he got the ticket for no seatbelt.
Right.
What struck me about that, it was after 11 o'clock at night where he got that. Because if you start your day, you put your seatbelt on, you start the car and you go. But as you go in and out of your car running like quick errands, you might just jump back in and don't put your seatbelt back on. That's what I believe happened here. I believe there's a good chance he was a peeping Tom at that moment, or up in his search area, staring at them, stalking them. And then when he got back in the car, he just did not re-engage his seatbelt. And that's why he was stopped right there.
Guys, 222, our friends at ABC.
Recent students of his at Washington State University speaking out, one saying his appearance changed around the time the murders took place.
He looked a little bit more like some stubble coming on. His hair was a little, messed up or whatever. I remember seeing him and thinking like, oh man, finals must be really getting to him.
28-year-old Kohberger remained a teacher's assistant, working towards his criminology PhD until the end of his semester.
Looking disheveled and, quote, messed up following the murders. Now, other accounts are that he would speak in a very obtuse way in class. But then whenever the issue of the Idaho slayings came up, he would go, quote, deadpan quiet. We also know that he had been a very strict grader as a TA, teaching assistant. In fact, one of the professors had made a joke, hey, go easy on him, Bryan, regarding his grading. But after the murders, he was very lackadaisical and gave a lot of like A, B+. He's not really reading the papers in depth anymore. Disheveled, deadpan. I mean, have you asked anybody about the Idaho murders and they don't have an opinion or a question? A lot of them are off the wall. A lot of them make a lot of sense. A lot of the ones that are off the wall actually raise really good questions.
Nancy,
looking at our social media questions, theories. Who is that, Dale?
Yeah, spinning off on what Magic Cheryl said, another reason to not have your seatbelt on is because it's more important to pull your pants up.
Okay, yeah, only you and Jackie had thought of that. I'm not going to question why, but CC more. Oh, one more thing I want you to know. 219, our friends at Fox and Friends. Listen to this.
It sounds to me that the defense lawyers are doing a good job. Remember, they've already stopped the Idaho police from tearing down the crime scene so that they can have their own experts come in and see if they agree or disagree with the...
I mean, what if they're doing what they did with the Parkland shooting? They held that crime scene until the jury walked through it. I think they need to put a wrecking ball to 1122. I don't know. I couldn't do it if I was in college to think to be in that house. In case somebody wanted to
yeah, and then there's that picture. Yeah, there's that picture. It looks like there's a face on the window. Have you seen that one?
No, but I want you to show that after this this video. Okay, let's go, guys.
Oh.
We got 14 minutes. Okay, come on, Nancy. But Dale said the reason maybe he didn't have a seatbelt on because he was pulling up his pants. I can't believe he said that. Okay.
The crime scene.
That was our friend Michael Bodden speaking to our very dear friends over at Fox and Friends in the morning. And he's right. The defense attorneys have asked to freeze the house so they can send their experts. And I think their experts have already been. And you know what? I would have defense attorneys jump up and go, we want to see the scene. I'm like, okay, good. I want you to see the scene. Go for it. Because I really believe that we're right. And the scene of the crime is only going to confirm what the police think. But now, as we go to CC more, and remember everybody, jump in with questions for CC, including you, Dave Mack, crimeonline.com investigative reporter with us. Take a listen to our cut 221, our friend Kana Whitworth at ABC.
New details emerging about how law enforcement tracked Kohberger down. Sources telling ABC News they used public genealogy databases like those used to catch the Golden State Killer.
You have DNA from a crime, but you don't have a suspect. He's not in a database. So you use public databases of genealogy looking for relatives. So eventually, you get down to the point where you can match the DNA potentially to your suspect.
Okay, CC Moore is with me again, Chief Genetic Genealogist, Parabon Nanolabs. CC, a lot of people have been throwing around 23andMe. I don't know if that is a DNA database they use, but I do know that upon study, 23andMe is a private lab. They do not release that to cops. I don't think they can even subpoena that. But there is a catch to that. With 23andMe, and I researched because I kept hearing everyone talking about that was the database used, and I don't know that that's correct. But there is a way with 23andMe you can look at your ancestry, but also you can try to connect with people online. You can, or you don't have to. So I'm guessing if it was 23andMe, and that's a big if, those relatives of Kohbergers had put their DNA out there to see if there were any long-lost relatives. I'm just trying to figure out how this happened.
I think it's highly unlikely that 23andMe was used. And that's because they bar law enforcement and they have publicly stated they will fight law enforcement to get into it. And they are worth $1 billion, that company. They have deep pockets. They have a very robust legal team. And so it would have taken a fair amount of time for law enforcement to try to convince them to let them use their database. And we know this happened very quickly. So it's very likely that they stuck to the two databases that do allow law enforcement, GEDmatch and Family Tree DNA.
Yeah, hold on. Remember, CC Moore, we're just mere mortals, okay? So sometimes you got to slow it down for us. We're drinking from the fire hydrant here. So you're saying that there are public DNA databases like GEDmatch, which I believe you've told me in the past is GED match?
Correct.
Okay, and there's another one you mentioned. What's the other one?
Family Tree DNA is actually a private database. They were the first company to offer genetic genealogy to the public to let you send in your DNA and get those results back. But they're the smallest of these companies. And they have...
Family Tree, gotcha.
Right. They don't have, they're not public. They don't have investors like we see with those other big companies. So they can make a decision like they have here to support law enforcement and to allow...
I'm glad you're telling me this, CC, because nobody would use a private lab again if they thought the cops could just get your DNA. All right. My daughter is dying to get Ancestry and did. And my son said, no, Mom, I don't want one of my relatives to be busted. on robbery or something. I'm like, what put that in your head? And he said, you. I'm like, okay, well, guilty. But they did do it. And my husband got the horrible discovery that he's not from Scottish royalty. Okay. So he's having to deal with the fact that he's Irish just like me. A mutt. We're mutts. Okay, go ahead. Tell me what happened here. How did it work?
Well, first of all, I want to say people are talking about how smart Bryan is. And I have to say, I just don't see how any student of forensic science or criminology did not realize that it's virtually impossible that type of violent, intimate crime without leaving their DNA behind. He can't be that smart. And he must have heard of investigative genetic genealogy. So he knew he wasn't in the law enforcement databases, but he certainly should have known we would track him from his relatives. Now, as I was saying, we're restricted to the two smallest databases. So we can only compare unknown DNA like his, in this case, against about 2 million profiles. But we only need distant cousins. Everybody has lots of distant cousins. So they were likely working with second, third, fourth, fifth cousins and beyond, unless they got really lucky. I was in one of those two small trees for probably days on end. People have this idea that one match solves these cases, and that's not how it works. We're typically working with a dozen matches, 24 matches. You're building trees day and night, and particularly in a case like this, where there was a real threat.
Cece Moore, a while back, I was at CrimeCon, and Paul Holes was there, one of the many detectives that helped crack Golden State Killer. He's phenomenal. But I remember him putting up, he drew it. He drew it beforehand. Cheryl, I think you were there with us. He drew the family tree that led to the Golden State Killer. It went back like 10 or 12. It was a whole poster. And there were like a few people at the top. Then it went out to like 18 or 20. Then 18 or 20. It went down, 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 down. I can't even describe how intricate that family tree was and how far back they had to go. When you're saying building a family tree, I mean, this goes all the way back to the Revolutionary War in some cases. I mean, you have to go way back to find, you know what, you can say it better than me. I know that. That's why I put experts on the stand. You explain it.
Well, I can only imagine the pressure that the team felt that was building those trees. I'm sure they were doing it day and night, knowing that this perpetrator could strike again and there could be more victims. So when you're building, it's almost like you're in this dark forest of trees and you're just looking for that little light at the end. For that. Where you make this all together, going to connect to mom's side, some to dad's side, fortunately.
Unreal.
And if they were able to connect to both sides of his family, it would have zeroed in only on him, since he's the only son in that family. I don't know if it's possible they didn't have a lot of great matches, since his family has a lot of immigrant ancestors in the last few generations. But if they did, it would have meant they were just looking at this one person. Now, if they could only get, say, the great-grandparents, maybe they had to look at 12 great-grandsons, 20 great-grandsons.
But then don't they take knowledge who with that DNA is in that area? And I'm getting an urgent note from our managing editor at Crime Online, Wilson, who is listening in. Oh, wait, no, this is from Jackie. Jackie says, Steve, at least that we know of, and they waited for him to throw away a McDonald's cup or an Arby's wrapper or go through his trash very, very secretively and get a toilet tissue or a Kleenex where he blew his nose to get the DNA. That's not unheard of. See, so you can get DNA off a pizza crust, and it has been done.
You know, they do this exact thing in a lot of my cases. It's really typical that once we point them in the right direction, they're staking someone out. They're waiting for them to drop that piece of DNA on it or pulling it from their curb. So it doesn't surprise me at all if that's what happened here.
Dave, Matt, you've been unusually quiet. Jump in, Dale. Make it quick.
Nancy, in Florida, every criminal has their DNA, felony criminal has their DNA taken. A national federal database now, much like fingerprints. And that makes it a lot easier to go back. If one of those guys...
You mean CODIS?
Yeah. If one of those family members was arrested or they had their DNA taken because they're working in the medical field or something like that, very easy to make the connection, or easier,
You're right.
I should say.
Just Scott jumping in?
Nancy, this is Chris.
It's Chris. Go ahead, Chris.
So a couple of thoughts that I have is, and I'm curious about the two traffic stops.
Mm-hmm.
Their whole...
I don't know, Jess.
So, question: when we find out, at what point do they get on this guy in the beginning? And are these two traffic stops, the old surveillance team calling up?
Wow. You know what? Chris McDonough.
That's a whisper stop.
Yeah, exactly. Got it.
I had that question posed on Twitter. They said, do you think they got DNA from the defendant on one of those traffic stops? And I wrote back in for no. But that's a very good question. But it's my understanding that because he lost that December 15. They didn't know to be looking for Kohberger. Cheryl McCollum, jump in.
I believe that's accurate, Nancy. But again, what I'm hearing is how fast this happened. Once they identified the car, they already had unknown male DNA at the house. Once they got his identity, they wanted his DNA to cross-check to see if it was the same DNA that came out of the crime scene. This happened, in my estimation, very, very quickly. And I think CC could probably talk about that, but I think there's very few places that could do it that fast. My guess was Othram, but, it could be anybody, but it was fast as lightning to me.
Nancy, I think another indication that they may have had a team sitting on him is car. And here this car sat. It sat for days and days and days.
Apparently mommy and daddy didn't notice because he was parked right up their tailpipe.
I'm just wondering if they had calls on that particular car, and we're going to back off of this and just watch what this guy is doing, because it's right there. I mean, it's within the 10 spot, to put it in the shooting.
That's a really good point. CC, if what our working theory is right now, and we may be going down a rabbit hole, but that's how you end up getting the correct answer. You test a lot of different theories and either they work or they don't work. Let's just hypothesize, CC, that they did get that water bottle out of the car. Just pretend just a moment. How quickly could they make a name to known DNA at the crime scene?
Well, at that point, they would have already used investigative genetic genealogy to give them that lead. They would have rushed that to their crime lab and been able to do that one-to-one comparison to the CODIS profile very quickly. In fact, I've worked with Idaho State Crime Lab, and they stayed overnight and really turn those results around. So I'm sure they would have done the same thing here, and it could have happened very quickly.
You, CC Moore, Chris McDonough, Cheryl McCollum, Joe Scott Morgan, Karen Stark, Dale Carson, Dana.
They said in the affidavit they got the DNA from the garbage, didn't they? Chisme falls asleep.
They got they got the DNA from that sheath. The sheath.
Yeah, but in the affidavit it said too they got it from some of his garbage.
Oh, at his home.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
I missed that part.
Let's watch Weirdo in court, and then Chisme will show us the picture, and then we got to wrap it up so I can get some sleep. Soon the sun's going to be up. So here's him in court today in Latah County. All right, you little strange bean. All right, here we go. Oh, come on. Don't be mean.
Hello, Mar, are you there? Did your ferret take your internet again? Good night, JDS. I'm getting real sleepy too. Yeah, I think his parents did look the other way. I wonder if I should just show those pictures. Okay, here's that picture. Can y'all see it? Good night, JDS. I'm getting real sleepy too. Yeah, I think his parents did look the other way.
Oh, I'm sorry, girl.
Can you see this? My screen? The screen? I wonder if I should just show
Yeah, let
those
me put it
pictures.
in. There you go. Sorry, guys.
Okay, I'm gonna play it, but I don't know if there's. I can't remember if I put music on it. So
What?
see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Is that Bryan Kohberger watching Kaylee and Madison?
Creepy.
Okay, and here's the other one. Can you see this one?
You have to share it.
Oh.
She does Black Eagle and TikTok. She's becoming a
Yeah,
TikToker.
I might delete my YouTube channel and just stick with TikTok.
You don't
Okay,
have to delete
share.
it.
I have been neglecting my YouTube channel. This is the one where it looks like there's a figure inside the
You have to
house.
share it.
I know I'm getting it. Sorry.
I'll try. Oh, she's got to make it full screen.
Right there.
All right, can you? Yeah, I don't know if the shorts do they go full screen TikTok?
Okay, see? But a lot of people say that it's this lady.
Oh, the lady's reflection.
Yeah, but they're like, well, where are the other people's reflections? And they say it looks like Xana.
Hmm.
But I said, well,
Creepy.
she doesn't have a neck or anything. You know what I mean? That's weird. What if he did that? You know, decapitated? And I was like, well, where's her body? There's no body to be a reflection. But she is wearing a black shirt. And at first I thought they meant this one.
I mean, I can see a face. I can definitely. Hey, infamous. I can see a face. That's kind of creepy, but it's like a skeleton-looking face.
Yeah. It's and I don't see body, and I'm wondering if he, decapitated him, or if this is just an illusion, or if it is the redhead.
Interesting.
The redhead, I don't see a bun on top. Here.
I don't know.
Oh, sorry. Well, those are the ones I have.
Okay, let's go back. Are you done with that one?
Yes.
All right, let's go back to court real quick. Let's go watch the creeper in court. Oh, come on.
Mr. Kohberger is present in court, is in custody, is appearing with his attorney.
Kiss me, drop your link.
Mr. Thompson, Ms. Jennings on behalf of the state.
Let me slow this down. Jesus God.
We're going to discuss setting the matter for further hearing. You have the following rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to the presumption of innocence. That means the state bears the burden to prove that you are guilty of this offense beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to a preliminary hearing. A preliminary hearing is a probable cause hearing. At that hearing, the state must establish that more likely than not, these felony offenses were committed, and you were the one that committed the felony offenses. You would be bound over to district court. And at that time, you can enter a plea of not guilty, and you can have a jury trial set within 6 months of your appearance in district court. At both your preliminary hearing and your jury trial, you have the right to confront and question any evidence or witnesses called against you. Call witnesses on your own behalf, and compel witnesses to be present and testify at the state's expense. You have the right to be represented by a lawyer. If you cannot afford one, one could be appointed to represent you based upon your financial needs. You also have the right to appeal any conviction in your case. Do you understand these rights?
Yes.
I am now going to go over the criminal complaint with you. Count 1 of the criminal complaint charges you with the felony offense of burglary. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan C. Kohberger, on or about November 13th, 2022, Latah County, located at 1122 King Road, Moscow, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder in violation of Idaho Code 18-1401 and 1403. The maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is not less than 1 year in prison, no more than 10 years in prison, and or a $50,000 fine or both. Do you understand?
Yes.
Count 2 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan C. Kohberger, on or about November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogen, from which she died, in violation of Idaho Code 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. The maximum penalty for this offense, if you were to plead guilty or be found guilty, is death or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Count 3 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan C. Kohberger, on or about November 13th of 2022 in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Kaylee Gonsalves, a human being, by stabbing Kaylee Gonsalves, from which she died, in violation of Idaho Code 18-4001, 4002, 4003, 4004. Again, the maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is death and or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Count 4 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan C. Kohberger, on or about November 13th of 2022 in Latah County, Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being by stabbing Xana Kernodle from which she died in violation of Idaho Code 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. Again, the maximum penalty for that offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is up to death and/or imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
Count 5 alleges that you committed the felony offense of murder in the first degree. It alleges that the defendant, Bryan C. Kohberger, on or about November 13th of 2022 in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being, by stabbing Ethan Chapin from which he died, in violation of Idaho Codes 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. And again, the maximum penalty for this offense, if you plead guilty or are found guilty, is up to death and imprisonment for life. Do you understand?
Yes.
And Mr. Kohberger, would you like to represent yourself, hire a lawyer, or see if you qualify for court-appointed counsel?
I have court-appointed counsel.
Court has reviewed your application for attorney at public expense. I do find that you are indigent and do qualify for court-appointed counsel. I will appoint Ms. Taylor to represent you in this case. Ms. Taylor, have you had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Kohberger about speedy preliminary hearing and setting this matter?
Your Honor, I have. We would ask the court to set the status hearing in a week or two to make a final report.
Okay. And Mr. Thompson, Ms. Jennings are in agreement with that.
That's fine with the state, Your Honor.
This matter for a status hearing then on the calendar on January 12th at 10 o'clock a.m. We will make sure notice is sent, and then Ms. Taylor, do you wish to argue bail at this time?
Your Honor, I would like to ask the court to consider setting a bond. Mr. Kohberger right now is on the bond case, but it's a limited request as I don't have enough information. We are in the case, we have been there a way of information about the case and to do it more complicated. But we would want the court to know that Mr.
And Mr. Thompson.
The state's position is Mr. Kohberger is not entitled to bond in this case. The charges, as is noted on the arrest warrant itself. Under Code 19-816, 19-2903, both specify that given the potential penalties in this case, there's no right bail. The defendant was arrested 3,000 miles away across the country. We're examining it as he remained in custody. No bail.
At this point in time, pursuant to Idaho Criminal Law 46B and Idaho Code 19-816 and 2903, I am going to leave the bail set at this case as no bail at this point in time until I have additional and further information at a later date and time. So with that, then Mr. Kohberger, you will be remanded in custody in custody on the no further. Taylor, is that correct?
That is correct.
So I will go ahead and issue those no contact orders. So I do have a no contact order then for the named individual of Dylan Mortensen, Bethany Funk, as well as the family members and Mr. Chapin, the family members of Ms. Kernodle, excuse me, Mr. and Ms. Laramie, Mr. Mogan, Ms. Cheeley, and then a number of members of the Gonzalez family. Those specific names will certainly be provided to you, Mr. Kohberger, by way of being provided notice of these documents or get a copy of these no contact orders. What you do need to be advised of is the contact orders. You are prohibited from having any contact with them whatsoever. You cannot contact them through a third person in writing or by any electronic. You cannot Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, use your phone to communicate with them, or otherwise any form of communication in direct or indirectly with them. You cannot engage in any conduct that would harass, stalk, threaten, use, attempt to use, or threaten to use any physical force or violence upon them, or place them in reasonable fear of bodily injury. You cannot go within or knowingly remain within 300 feet of their person or their home, workplace, or any other place where they might be. There are no exceptions to these orders, and if you do violate these orders, it is a new misdemeanor offense. It is punishable by up to a year in jail and or a $1,000 fine or both. At this point in time, due to being in the magistrate's division here, at this juncture, I am going to issue the no contact orders for a period of 2 years, and then if it needs to be modified or changed by additional judge, it can be done so at that time. Is there anything further, Mr. Thompson? Anything further, Mr. Taylor? Thank you.
Almost speechless. He's like a cold monster. Like, he sat there the whole time looking at the judge and never once. I mean, did he even blink? Oh, I don't know, Infamous. I had it up pretty high. But then again, I had a cold for like 2 weeks that I'm just getting over, so I'm still like a little congested. So, unreal,
Yeah,
guys.
he loves it. He loves it. Look at that with his big old schnauzer.
I mean, he just sat there like he's in court for a traffic citation. He had absolutely zero emotion, or he didn't even seem like he was bothered to be in court. Like, he was just like blank.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Like,
hey,
oh well, la 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 la.
hey, Theresa. At all. He was just like, I mean, even looking around, like, even when he came into the courtroom in Monroe, Latah County, he doesn't even drop his head. Like, he's just like, hey, I did it. I have no remorse. And to do it in like 20 minutes, too. Like, what was the purpose?
Yeah, but how did those frat guys know it took 20 minutes?
I
Remember
don't
when they
know.
wrote that thing?
Right, Trinity? And then he went and had an 8 afterwards. Like, yeah, he's a special kind of special. As far as I'm concerned, he's right with the Bundy, Roland, Kemper. Yeah, he's like all of them. Complete nut job. It's scary, Theresa. Sitting in there like I mean, you killed 4 people, and I'm almost
Mm-hmm.
convinced that you skinned the dog too.
And what were they? Foxes? Fox? Or what were those? Not coyotes.
Coyote?
They were?
Yeah, I don't think the coyote had anything to do with it. I think he was actually in college in Pennsylvania at that time when the coyotes, but we're gonna have to cross check it and see. I could be wrong.
Yeah, it was a like a sorority thing. I mean, a
But it
fraternity thing.
but it was like 4 or 5 years ago, right? When that incident with
I
the
don't
coyotes.
remember. I don't remember the date.
Let me check. God, my Google history would like put me like in a rubber room. Forget about prison. I would be like in a padded room. Can I at least give me YouTube? I'll be okay.
But
Okay, what does this
he's
say?
used to being alone. He's used to being alone, so I think it's not going to bother him to be alone in prison. And he's famous now.
All right, guys, trigger warning. This is sad. I'm going to show you a picture of this little buddy dog.
Okay.
Okay, so he was 12 years old. They let him outside before heading to bed. The only fur left on the dog was on his paws and head. I can't. So this was out. Is that regarding it? 11:20. So this article came out. Oh, look at that poor little baby. I can't even look at his face. 11:21. Weeks before student killings. I mean, look at the tags. Filleted weeks before. I can't even look at his little face.
Oh man, I missed it. I was looking away.
Yeah, well, it's better you missed his little face. Yeah, we're going too. I don't think so, Alicia. There's a rumor floating around. The reason why he claims that he is vegan is because he fears that if he tastes meat, he'll want to be a cannibal. It's a rumor. That's it for me, though. Chisme, thank you. Everyone, thank you for coming in. Stay
Thank you.
vigilant. Go ahead.
I said thank you. Bye bye, everyone.
That's all you got?
That's all I got for tonight.
You got any chicken and rice and beans?
No. Arroz con pollo. I'm
Mm.
making menudo tomorrow.
Okay, I'll be there.
Okay. You like menudo?
I don't even know what that is. Menudo? Menuda?
Menudo. Menudo. It's very tasty.
The Menuda band from back in the late 80s? Oh, I
I
love
think,
Menuda. Menudo.
yeah. Well, it's tripe and hominy.
Shit. All right, let me get rid of these banners.
Yeah.
Everyone, have a
But you
good
take the shit out. Okay. Bye bye.
Holy Spirit. Hello. No, no, no. We don't know. He didn't eat anything. No, that's a rumor. There's no rumor he ate anybody, guys. Don't say that. Something about the reason why he's vegan is because if he was to eat meat, then he would want to eat and taste a person. Remember Menudo singing that song on the cliffs? Okay, let me stop. I'm old as hell.
And if we knew what they meant about who was it? Pork chops and applesauce. The Brady Bunch.
you do, you are such an ass. Oh my god.
Well, that's how he
See,
said
now
it,
you're gonna
Bob.
make my
What was his
cold
name?
come back. All right, everyone. Have a good
Okay.
night. Stay vigilant, guys, and keep your babies safe.